Well, hello and welcome wherever you are in the world to the British Academy Games Awards in 2018. Coming to you live from the distinctly Art Deco treasure, that's the Troxy in London's East End. Now, I can promise you there won't be a jelly deal in sight, mainly because I contractually requested it because they're creepy and weird, yeah? But just the creative forces behind the most excellent games of 2018. So the ceremony itself will begin around 7 p.m. or 1900 hours BST for all you shooter fans out there and our international viewers too. And returning to host the ceremony this year for the 8th time is perhaps comedy's biggest gamer. That's Dara O'Brien. But before then, I'm joined by this bunch of gaming gurus who are busting to talk about what great year of games it's been, and with their hot tips to take home a coveted Bafta mask. With me are Jane Douglas from Outside Xbox, everyone's favourite streamer with a name combining questionable tin meat and gill-bearing aquatic creante animals. That's such a sentence. Spamfish and Alicia Judge from IGN. Hi guys, how you doing?
Hey Julia.
How's it going? Right, so I'm also in position on the red carpet, primed to speak to all the nominees and award presenters as they arrive is the all-knowing, all-seeing Aoife Wilson. Hello, Aoife.
All-knowing and all-seeing. I love that. I wish everyone would introduce me that way. Thanks, Jules.
That's all right.
Yes, I hope you guys are enjoying your warm room with your comfy seats because I'm down here. It's freezing, but I do get to experience all the glitz and the glamour. So, and chat to everyone who matters tonight. So,
Oh, what are you saying? We don't matter? Thanks, Aoife.
I mean, I've already spoken to you guys.
you can bask in the glow of like everyone's talent. I presume that projects a little bit of warmth.
It's got to rub off a little bit, right?
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
All right, well, Aoife obviously always gets to enjoy all the glitz and the glamour downstairs. And anyway, just to prove that, we've got a quick look at what she's got lined up from last night's nominees party, which was hosted by the Emmy Hotel in London.
Now, when you're trying to decide where to hold a party for the pinnacle of games industry talent, you might as well aim high, which is why we're literally on the rooftop of the Me Hotel London, where the nominees for the 2018 British Academy Games Awards are raising a glass to one another and trying to calm their nerves before tomorrow night's ceremony. So let's go see who's here. How many years have you been hosting these nights?
Do you know, we're in the happy situation where I can't remember.
Horizon Zero Dawn is up for quite a few awards.
It's beyond anything that we were expecting and hoping for.
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. What do you think people really responded to about it?
Whether they suffer from mental illness or not, I think we all suffer at some level. So I think it's just resonated with far many more people than we imagined.
We thank you at the start of every stream. We say thank you, Brendan, for letting us into your battlegrounds. So thank you, Brendan, for letting us into your battlegrounds.
It's my absolute pleasure.
In the nominations this year, there are those indie titles along with the AAA.
These awards have always been about them. Edith Finch is a huge one this year.
Valerie, What Remains of Edith Finch is up for quite a few awards, right?
It's a whole new medium of storytelling that is so exciting, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
We're not just seeing more different stories being told, but like new ways of telling story.
I used to think I was lucky to get in the early days when like you could be like the Charlie Chaplin where you're like, I'm figuring out what this art form is, but it's still happening.
It's always going to be technology meets passion and imagination. Yeah,
And that's what BAFTA's all about, right?
exactly. Yeah, totally.
To be recognised by the BAFTAs is really important. Not just the team, but all the people that helped us make the game, you know.
Good luck tomorrow. I hope you will be a winner, chicken dinner.
Thanks so much, Aoife.
So I think it's safe to say there are some excited and some nervously excited faces here tonight at the Me Hotel London. It's going to be a fantastic night tomorrow night and I cannot wait. So we'll see you then.
Trust me, a great night was had by all in attendance. Wouldn't you agree, guys? Anyone feeling a little bit shaky this morning?
No, I'm okay. They ended the free bar at 9 p.m, so, you know, I
Smart.
was cheap enough not to get drunk.
That's smart planning. So actually joining us now, we have Dantdm. How are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Good. You snuck in during that VT.
I did,
like
yeah.
slippery
And I avoided
snuck in.
the party yesterday, so I'm feeling fresh.
What? You avoided it, but
Yeah.
missed. It was very good fun. So obviously this is a huge night in the British gaming calendar. How do you guys feel about this year's kind of list of nominees?
Revisiting the most nominated games in the list of nominees just reminds us how varied and invigorating last year was for video games. I'm looking at Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which I'm only now just getting over the intensity of. I'm traumatized, frankly. Yeah.
Tim, what do you think about this year's?
I mean,
nominees?
there's so many good games, you know, nominated in different categories. Obviously, I'm a huge Nintendo fan, so I'm so chuffed for Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. I think both those games kind of knocked it out of the park. But if you even look at What Remains of Edith Finch, that was a really effective game. I'm a big fan of those artsy walking simulators, they call them, but there's so many amazing scenes and so many amazing moments in that game that, then you look at Hellblade, there's so many good games.
This is going to be a 4-hour-long stream.
I could talk about every game for about an hour each, so yeah.
Let's just keep this bit short. We'll get a bit deeper. Alicia, what did you think?
It was amazing for games in 2017. One of the things that I loved the most was that indies and AAAs kind of stood shoulder to shoulder, and that's really hopeful. And I'll be intrigued to see how it filters into this year of games, but last year was amazing.
So, Dan, obviously, you have your particular games. What did you kind of get into this year? What were you kind of surprised by?
I am looking forward to see how Cuphead does. Cuphead was one of my favourite games ever.
It's so hard, though, Dan. It's so hard.
It's not that hard.
It is hard.
It's
not that hard.
I feel like because it gives you that progress meter after every level. You're like, I got a little bit closer this time, so I'm going to try again. So
yeah,
I like what Tim says. He says it's not difficult. It's deliberate.
It's deliberate.
Which sounds real good.
Yeah.
Is it just that? I feel like we become really lazy as gamers. Like, oh, let's hide behind a box, regenerative health. All these kind of things that make it easier. Are we just a bit lazy?
Or you just play it so much that you get that lucky jump or that lucky shot, and then you complete the level.
And then you
I don't know.
Exactly.
You're like, yes!
Yeah, it's meant to do that.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of the leading nominees for this year. So to start off, obviously, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is obviously leading with 9 nominations, which is huge. And obviously, Hellblade fans are pleased. So what are kind of some of your thoughts on that particular title?
I think it's a safe bet for several awards if I was a betting person, and just the intensity of it. I was only semi-joking. That has stuck with me probably harder than any of the other games on the list. I mean, I love many of them, but that one I think has really stuck with me.
It was also, it kind of reminded me, obviously everyone sort of says, play it with headphones because you get the real kind of surround sound feel. The last time I sort of felt that was when Dead Space first came out, and I was like suddenly really aware of how they mixed the sound and used it in a really clever way. And I sometimes think sound is like a little bit overlooked in that regard. It was
like
powerful.
having a really intense fever.
Yes.
That kind of like whisperiness everywhere. So that's how I have.
What kind of illnesses are you getting? Tim, what did you think?
I loved it. I mean, technically, audio, visual design, the character acting, the whole look of it. It's not a AAA game, but it comes across as a AAA game. And for it to tackle and broach such an interesting subject and make that into a video game, that alone has to be something to be rewarded. And I think it'll do well tonight. I think it's very much a Bafta kind of game. Bafta love a worthy kind of interesting intellectual game almost. And I think we could see it do well. I mean, whether it'll win best game, I don't know. It's in a very, very tough category there. But
it's got up against some really
I think,
stiff competition.
there's a reason it's the most nominated game.
I mean, as someone who suffers from depression, like my whole life, it was really interesting to, obviously not in the same way, I don't have that kind of psychosis where I hear voices, but those kind of that internal monologue and the sort of negative things that it says, it's probably the easiest. Playing it was quite triggering for me, and actually then showing it to people and saying like, this is sort of not to this level, but this is sort of kind of what goes on in my head sometimes, was actually really refreshing to see someone else effectively put it down on paper.
So I think, I mean, they made it in conjunction with the Wellcome Trust too. They're all about using science and medicine and creating games that really explore those concepts. So it was made with real research and real experiences from people who suffer from psychosis and mental health issues. So it's realistic and deals with those themes really well.
Did you get a chance to play it?
I didn't, I'm afraid. No, but it sounds like something with 9 nominations and not being a AAA.
You now have to play it.
I have to, yeah.
Okay, we're going to go down to Aoife, who's on the red carpet and bagged our first interview. Aoife, who you got?
Oh, hi. I'm here with Valerie, a.k.a. Edith Finch from What Remains of Edith Finch, which is up for quite a few nominations, right?
Yes, I believe we're up for 6 nominations, which is incredible.
And you're up for Best Performer, which, I mean, this is your first video game, right? That's a high bar to set.
Oh my gosh, I mean, first game and a BAFTA nomination's a little intimidating. I hope this isn't, I hope I haven't peaked or anything after this. So.
It's just a sign of things to come.
Absolutely, that's what I hope.
I mean, how did you feel when you first got the script through for this game? I mean, I am so glad that it's nominated because it really pushes the boundaries of what story and narrative in games can be.
I completely agree with that. I didn't get a full script till my first recording date, so it was very exciting getting to see each piece unravel and getting to talk with the creative team about what each story meant and the lives of each family member in the game. It was something very surreal, and it's a memory I'm never going to forget. Reading that for the first time.
It's brilliant as well because it's a story that can only be told through the medium of games, right? I mean, like the way that things come together and coalesce. Like I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I mean, what did you feel like when you played it for the first time?
You know, I completely agree with that. I believe it wouldn't be resonating with people the way it has if you weren't doing it as a first-person player, because everyone who's spoken to me about it being something that's resonated with them has said, you know, living through this character's personal deaths in the family has been therapeutic for people and consoling for lots of people, and I think that the only way to achieve that has been through that first person playing the game.
So do you believe games can tell say important things more than just being entertainment?
I believe so, because there's something really special about having to interact with it. Movies and TV I love, but I know that there's a lot of people who put it on as background noise, and it becomes something that's it can kind of just be there sometimes if you're not fully engaged. Whereas with a game, you have to sit there and you have to engage with it because you're not playing it otherwise.
It is literally you in their shoes, absolutely. So you come from a theatre background. I mean, would you sort of recommend, getting into gaming to your theatre friends?
I would absolutely. It's such an amazing medium, and I really am so excited to see all the new stories that are being told. I'm so excited about all the games that are already out that people have been recommending me to play. It's such a new world that I think we've really only had in this past few years. And it's a new horizon, and I feel, especially as a theater performer, that these are dynamic stories that are really touching people, and that's my favorite thing to do as a performer, is to reach people and touch people and tell a story.
Games are the perfect way to do that.
They really are.
And we're getting better all the time. Valerie, thank you so much, and good luck tonight.
Thank you so much. Great talking.
Back to you guys.
Wow, what remains of Edith Finch? It was one of those games that I didn't play for ages. So I was like, I know how this is going to go, and I'll just play it later. And then I played it, and I was like, shut my mouth.
So many people said that. So many people came to it really late in the year, and it was my game of the year last year. It was phenomenal.
I think it's recommendation anxiety. You get that with like Breaking Bad, where someone's like, no, you're going to love this. And
you're like, but what if I don't like it?
I'm going to love. And then you're like, no, you're right, this is probably the best game of the year.
But it's also, I think, like we'd seen a lot of kind of similar sounding games, and so you're like, wow, it's that thing, they're just going to rinse, repeat, right? And then actually you're like, oh God, this has gone some really weird places. I sort of love it, but I don't know why I love it, because it's actually moderately to largely upsetting at the same time.
Well, because I think the game was 4.5 years in development. So actually when it came out, it was just as we were starting to see kind of walking simulators, and it was in development before Gone Home. But of course it came out and everyone was like, oh, it's just a Gone Home clone. But actually it has really different influences. It's more inspired by sublime horror, H.P. Lovecraft, Neil Gaiman, and it takes all of those elements and then packages them up into a story that's ultimately about family and death, which sounds really depressing. But then it's actually quite hopeful and really, really clever game design.
It's got some great scenes in as well. Without giving away too many spoilers, if you haven't played it, the scene with the fish factory.
I can't get on with that.
The scene in the bathtub. Some truly remarkable, filmmaking in the context of a game. And
stylistically, each little story was so different as well.
And it's a game you can really go back to as well. You can see new details. There's so much detail in the family house, like little things, and knowing the story and then going back to it, you'll see little keys and little signifiers to other details. It's an astonishing piece of work.
Dan, did you get a chance to play it?
Another one that I haven't played.
How have you not beaten the Bafta games of the year? What did you play this year? What was your kind of game?
I played a lot of Super Mario Odyssey. Was one that I was completely addicted to. Honestly, apart from Cuphead, they're like on level peggings as my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most difficult of games unless you played the new Balloon DLC, which is obscenely difficult for some people.
Yeah.
But it was just such a good game that I loved from beginning to end. You just play some bits and you'd be like, that design is insane. One bit with I think it's the boss with the chicken in the stew pot. And then there's the mechanics, the way those evolve is just so good.
It's one thing Nintendo do well. I'm going to be Nintendo's drum beater all night, but they just give you new mechanics and then throw them away. Oh, here's a level, brand new mechanic. Oh, don't worry about that. We'll give you a new one next time. And there's, the bird, the flicky bird. That could have its own game. There's so many little design elements in Mario Odyssey where if they just took it away and have it at its own IP, it would still be a 9 out of 10 out of 10 game. And Nintendo, no one does that like Nintendo.
That's true.
Although that's interesting, that's how I feel about Edith Finch. That kind of, we've devised something inventive and astonishing, and now we're going to throw it away and we're going to give you something completely different, which is so remarkable, especially in a game that is so far from a AAA. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Do you play any kind of like more kind of story-based stuff? Are you like, because obviously like some of the big ones that are up are quite sort of like narrative-driven. Is that something that kind of interests you as a gamer?
Yeah, so stuff like the Walking Dead games, Life is Strange, I still need to finish that one as well, but those kind of story-driven games I think have really come up a lot in the past few years. It's almost like playing a movie, which I think people, especially gamers, properly get involved with. Super deep stories, I love that. Yeah, just having the time to play them is all of them is tough.
But I think the difference with when you play a story rather than watching a story, it's like you're solving the characters' problems for them. So that means,
100%, yeah.
which is amazing, because like when you go to a cinema, you just watch these problems unfold, and actually that creates this huge opportunity for empathy and delivering messages, which I guess is also where the new category for this year's Bafta comes in. There's a lot that can be done in terms of narrative and also actually having a message and, I don't know, creating empathy.
Sneaking in sneaky learning and sneaky empathy, I think, is key. Because it's like, you know, like at school, they tried to make you play games that were learning, and you knew they were learning games, like they're going to teach you about geography, and you knew it. I mean, you played it because that was the only choice you had or whatever. But I like it when they kind of like sneaky side hustle a kind of message in there.
So also, sorry to interrupt, but you also bear the responsibility of choice. You know, if you watch a film, you're partaking in watching it. When you're making the decision, like in The Walking Dead or something like that, you bear the responsibility of that, and that allows you to care more about the characters, get more involved in the story, and everything can blossom off there.
Totally, like Life is Strange was a really good example of that, when like you just find yourself going, when a character, when they made a decision.
And when it reminds you that you've just made a decision that will affect the game, you're like, wait, what?
No. Okay, so I think we can jump back down to Aoife on the carpet, who's got Melina Jurgens with her. Aoife, how you doing?
Hi. So Melina, I feel like I know you so well already, because your performance in Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, it's so intimate, and you did such an incredible job. How do you feel to be nominated for a Bafta?
I just can't believe what's going on. I'm like, I just got back from holiday, and that's all I could think about. I could not relax for 1 minute. I was like, oh god, Bafta, 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 Bafta. So yeah, it's very exciting to be here and surreal. Yeah.
What was the experience like for you? Because this was your first role, right? I mean, that is just an amazing track record already. But like, what was the experience like of going through the performance capture and everything? Because it is a full body performance now.
It was everything was new to me. I've never done any acting before. I'm actually Ninja Theory's video editor. I've been working on projects like Devil May Cry, cutting trailers, and then when the actress jumped out from Hellblade, they were like, oh, can you just put on that suit and can you just do this and that? I'm like, okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, I guess so.
Everything was new to me, and I had no idea like what's going to happen, and now this is happening. It's like,
I think you've got a good career ahead of you if that was your first attempt, honestly. But what did you think when you got the script through? Because I mean, I remember when Hellblade was announced, and people were like, "Wow, that's a big subject to tackle." And I mean, obviously, you handle it with such grace and such intelligence. But like, did you ever have any worries about it?
Definitely, it's like there was so much weight on my shoulders. Like representing a subject like this is really, really hard. Luckily, it turned out well, and everyone's happy about it. But we've been working very closely with professors and people that are hearing voices and seeing visions, and they told me all their personal stories. So we tried to keep tackle the subject really, really carefully, and we always get feedback from them to see if we're doing it right or wrong. And so
how was that for you? I mean, was it difficult? Were there any points where you were like, wow, I don't know, like this is a lot of responsibility?
Yeah, definitely. There were many times, especially when the game came out in August. I was just like sitting, waiting for the comments to come in. I was like, oh god, now I'm gonna get so much negative stuff. I'm like, oh no. But yeah, 95% positive, I think. Obviously, sometimes you get a little bit of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, 9 BAFTA nominations is good to have as well. But like, what was it like? I mean, Tamim is a great director, great writer, and everything.
Yes.
I mean, did you guys like collaborate on that? Like, because I mean, your performance, like, it's so non-verbal in so many places as well. Like, did you kind of collaborate on that?
That has a reason. because I'm German, I have a strong accent, so we thought maybe we should keep it down a bit and express like with your face a bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, we tried to keep the script quite like small, because obviously I'm not an actress, I can't remember many lines as well. So yeah, we tried to keep the script very small, and I was sometimes even just improvising. Like he'd give me a script and I'm like, I don't really know how to pronounce these words and they don't quite flow, so can I just improvise? And he's like, yeah, go for it. And we do like a few different takes and yeah, we just picked the best one.
And how long does it take before you actually see it starting to come together? And was it weird seeing your own face on another body for the first time?
Yes, definitely. Well, I kind of saw everything happening at the same time because I'm the video editor as well. So whenever I was doing trailers, I would get the footage and already see everything. Yeah, that was really strange. So I'm like editing myself on the computer. Yeah, that was really weird.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Have an amazing night and good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Wow, yeah. I mean, just incredible. Just imagine like working in an office. Hey, can we just borrow you 5 minutes, Jane? Just need you to like do a bit of audio, and then you're at the Baftas.
That's the dream,
right?
That's
I mean, you are
dream.
Technically at the Baftas.
Yeah, but I'm not nominated for Best Performance, Julia. What gives Bafta?
I know, right? Come on, Bafta. What are you doing? Just kidding. So, Dad, what else have you been playing this year?
Fortnite has recently taken over my life. And
Really?
I think the life of many other people as well.
It has. It's kind of destroyed everybody. Everyone's just staying indoors now.
It's crazy. It's doing the same thing as Pokemon Go, but not getting you outside.
More
So you
sedentary.
feel a bit,
Yeah.
a bit more guilty about playing it so much. I think it's up for multiplayer,
Yeah.
which I think has a strong argument for. I've also been playing a lot of. I think everyone's dabbled in a bit of Just Dance, which is
Always.
up for the family games, which is awesome.
Did you play any PUBG though, or did you just go straight to
Didn't
Fortnite?
know. So I wasn't a massive fan of shooters at all. Like I hadn't played COD, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But Fortnite came along. The graphics
Yeah.
were the main thing that really drew me to it. The building aspect as well. I think the best thing about it is it's a shooter, but you can kind of be. You don't have to be really good at shooting for it because you can make
Winner.
up for that with your building and your all the other items they have. It's such a good game.
You
and
still,
free.
and you still stuck playing it now then?
Still, yeah.
Still.
I was mad that the servers were down this morning, so I couldn't play it. So
I saw
that's
a
when
lot
you
of
know if you
tweets
have
about that.
addicted.
Yeah, like Ali A was like, "I've gone outside for the first time in ages. Here's me with my dog. What else can I do?" Sort of thing. I suppose we should also talk about one of the other really big contenders, which is Horizon Zero Dawn. So, kind of Jane, did you enjoy the game? What did you think?
So much fun,
Yeah.
and especially for Ashley Birch nominated for Best Performer. I think she's been nominated before for Life is Strange, and she's just such a talent, and I love Melina Jurgens for Hellblade, but also Ashley Birch for Horizon Zero Dawn.
She's becoming like the Troy Baker, right?
Is that fair?
Yeah, well, Troy, like he mixes his voices up. It's okay. Like you got
That's
Nolan
fair.
North, and Nolan North is quite Nolan Northy most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, compared to Troy Baker, he's sometimes in games and you're like, I had no idea.
The Man of a Million Voices.
Yes.
She's the Lady of a Million Voices. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can go for that.
Oh, it's like quite judgmental here, I feel just a little bit. Tim, what do you think of the game?
I've not played Horizon Zero Dawn.
Well, this is just awkward, guys. Come on, you're supposed to do your
I'm
homework.
supposed to be like an expert giving an opinion. I haven't played it. There's so many good games, I want to.
Yeah.
It's definitely on my list. I mean, obviously, there's so many good games, and that is one that's getting my attention. But the footage I have seen, it does look like it's the pinnacle of an open world game. So many mechanics that have been refined over the years, and so many different interesting elements of story progression have really kind of been crystallized in this game from what I've seen. But I do need to.
I read about it on the internet. Alicia.
I mean, 2017 was the year that developers really got creative with their inspirations. We mentioned earlier about H.P. Lovecraft and Neil Gaiman for What Remains of Edith Finch. And for Horizon Zero Dawn, I love the fact they decided to create a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because in every other, we talked about The Walking Dead earlier, and I feel like everyone's like, apocalypse, we've done it so many times. But we've not done post-apocalypse. And it creates this really fascinating world. And the minute I first saw that screenshot of a huge tall neck and her standing in front of it with a bow and arrow, there's a central mystery that drives through every part of that game, from the art to the music to the actual story itself. And I just think it's a beautiful bit of entertainment.
I feel absolutely terrible for not playing it now. Absolutely terrible. You summed it up beautifully.
Tim, you are actually just the worst
It's
person
terrible.
right now. I'm just kidding. Well, let's dive a little bit more into some of the specific categories where we're going to be putting some of our hard-earned gaming credits. So obviously this year there's a brand new award for 2018, which is the Games Beyond Entertainment category. So just to explain for those who might be kind of wondering a little bit of like what that actually means, this award recognises games that deliver a transformational experience beyond pure entertainment and explore a range of impactful social issues. So if this award was around then last year, then something like, That Dragon Cancer would have totally been in the running for that. So if anything, this category kind of demonstrates just how much kind of depth games have and the impact that they can have on the player. So should we have a little talk through like some of the ones that are up? We've got obviously Night in the Woods, which explores issues surrounding depression and the class system in small town America. Who played this game? What did you think?
That's my favourite.
Yeah?
Straight to that's my pick for this category. I loved Night in the Woods. I loved everything about it. It was so sweet and so charming. And I get that this is a new category for that specific purpose, but even apart from that, it was just such a natural, engaging, charming, lovely little portrait of this town and this girl's life when she kind of flunks out of college. And it was, although they're all like cutesy animals and it's not voiced, it's all in text, it's so real. It's realer than most depictions of like small town America in pop culture, I suspect.
And it also captures that kind of the young adult mentality of the
God, moving back home and the angst that comes with it. I'm a failure.
Totally, and that feeling of like, what does the future hold? And what's really interesting is the main character, her writing is very kind of self-deprecating, kind of sardonic humour. And that's really lovely because that's very the millennial humour. But then as time goes on, it turns into this kind of existential angst and anxiety, and actually realise this is kind of treads on the toes of talking about mental health issues, and it's beautifully written.
She's such a mess, such a hot mess in such a realistic way. Like sometimes such an awful person, and you're like, yeah, I get that. That's
All right, I'm just going to interject just quickly here because I believe Aoife now has another interview for us lined up on the red carpet there. Aoife, who have you got for us?
Hi, I'm here with Jeff Russo, the man behind the music of What Remains of Edith Finch. Jeff, I mean, thank you so much for the gift of the music of this game. It's so good.
Well, thank you very much. It was, it was a pleasure making it, and it's a really emotional game, and I got really connected to it when I was writing it. Yeah.
I mean, and music it's important in any game, but especially in a game like Edith Finch. I mean, because it just carries things through. It ties everything together. How do you start? I mean, where do you start?
Well,
with that?
I started in this particular case. I started with Edith's theme, and it was just the thing where they wanted to know what I was thinking in terms of what the game would sound like. So I wrote that first, and it sort of led to an emotional context that I think helped guide how you would play the game. And I think that's a really important part of this game, is following that emotional through line.
You're absolutely right. And it's kind of like, I mean, it follows through in every theme in the game where it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy, right? Like the house itself, like the family tree, like everything kind of folds back on itself and comes back around. And I think the music perfectly represents that.
Oh, thank you very much.
But like, so what do you think? Do you think music and the way music in games is treated has been changing recently? Do you think it's been taken more serious?
I think it depends on the type of game you're talking about. The big sort of more action-oriented games, like the music is really important to keep you engaged in the action. With a game like Finch, and I think you see more games like this now that have a very sort of it's a measured pace, and it's really important to connect the player to the emotional content of the story in order to keep them engaged in playing the game. So I think you see a lot more emotional scores now, and I think that's what we were trying to do with Finch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I feel like games are hitting like a real maturity right now, where we're tackling more difficult issues, more interesting issues, we have more diverse voices. I mean, how do you think music ties into that, and how do you think music can evolve in games in the future?
Well, as I've always said, like, music is a direct line to the emotional center of any narrative, right? And as games sort of become more and more about the story and the narrative, and they are following, like in this case, the story of a family and trying to tell the whole story of a family, and then dealing with death and dealing with the changing of the generations, music can really connect the player to that. And I think it goes with telling any story in any visual media, and I think that this is the greatest example of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you have any favorite scenes from the game that sort of like just work together perfectly for you?
Well, in terms of a favorite scene for me to write music to, the owl flying when you go from being the cat to being the owl. That to me was one of the really, really fluid moments for me when I was writing the score, and I really enjoyed doing that.
I may never forgive you for the baby Gregory scene, but we'll just leave it at that, shall we? Jeff, thank you so much.
We went through many different iterations of that.
Yes,
many different iterations.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
Much to my detriment and my mascara. Back to you guys in the studio, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh wow! What remains of Edith Finch? Like so many feels. There were too many feels in one game. It was amazing. Obviously, another game that had way too many feels, of course, is see the segue. Life is Strange Before the Storm. Oh, sorry, Beyond the Storm. So who played it? Did you love it? What did you think of it?
I loved it. I was so sceptical when we first heard about Before the Storm and got an idea of the premise because it's Life is Strange, but without the time travel puzzle powers.
And you're like, hey,
is that not the point? But it turns out that's not at all the point of Life is Strange. Life is Strange Before the Storm is the point of Life is Strange.
So I feel like we've gone into like an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Alicia, what do you think?
Oh, it's a beautiful game. And like, I completely agree with you. I had a similar response of like, but that's the central mechanic, how will it work? And actually, the idea of fast talking your way out of situations or like is quite a nice narrative compromise, I guess, that actually, we are dealing with different characters here and it's different stories to explore. And I had so many questions about the relationships of those characters, and it was really nice to dive into that as a prequel and go, okay, this was the grounding of all the characters that we saw in the main game.
It was a gorgeous character portrait. And also I remember talking to the developers and they were saying, from data from Life is Strange, very few people would actually make a decision, make a choice in a dialogue and then undo it and go down a different path. It's like people want to role play that character and they want to make a decision and they want it to have an impact. So you might experiment and see what happens, but in the end, people kind of want to follow a path.
Well, it's what makes real life special is that you have one go at it, and like even with games like Mass Effect and things like that, people go back and replay it a different way. To me, like the choices you make only have consequence and meaning because if you live with the decisions that you've made, sort of thing. Whereas if you kind of go back and redo it, it's a bit like, well, then it doesn't really matter what you say.
Totally.
Anyway, we could go a little bit too in deep into that. So obviously as well, there's another game which is called Bury Me, My Love, which is obviously the mobile game telling the tale of a couple separated by the Syrian conflict with really interesting gameplay mechanics. What did you guys think of this particular one?
I loved it. We've seen so many headlines about the Syrian refugee crisis and they can all feel very far away. And what Bury Me, My Love does is it puts it right in your pocket. So that feeling when you wake up in the morning and just before you've gone to bed, because everyone checks their phone before they go to bed, and you've made a decision of saying to this woman who's fleeing conflict and said, hey, okay, maybe try and find a life jacket. And you wake up first thing in the morning and you've got a message from her letting you know how she's done. And actually suddenly you start to feel what people might feel if they were in this situation, and that's really powerful and gives you a whole new perspective on real life.
But it's also talking to us in a way, in a language that is everyday. So normally, I turn on my console and I sit down and then I play the game like this, but actually having it interact with you in a way that you would normally interact gives it that extra gravitas in a way that other games can't, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's great about this category. You mentioned last year that Dragon Cancer. I remember playing that game, and there's a certain scene in that game where I just burst into tears. It was just, I don't want to spoil it. If you've played it, you might know, but it gives you that weight of the subject. You can read articles, you can watch news articles about Syria or things or mental health with Hellblade, but to actually go through something, to go in a transformative experience and have it kind of taught to you via other means becomes so much more interesting and allows these very properly weighty things become part of a game. If you were to look at 20 years ago when the SNES first came out, and now we're talking about games about psychosis and the Syrian conflict and all kinds of other subjects, I think it's a power to the medium of video games. It's something that's definitely worth celebrating, and it's so good to see this award kind of big up.
Yeah. Last day of June, obviously, that dealt with... Who played that? I mean, I feel like I was quite upset quite a lot this year with video games. I like crying a lot. Was that just me?
That's why they had to make the category.
Yeah, well, to give me tears.
How upset you were.
Melt my icy heart. Well, they did. Did anyone play it and enjoy it? Well, I say enjoy.
I mean, the cruel thing about that game was it totally lured you in with this gorgeous, cutesy art style, these characters, with the big heads, and then wham, like gut punch. And just the idea of a couple the whole central premise of the story is that June dies, spoiler alert, but not a spoiler, that's the premise of the game. And it's about her husband essentially trying to go back and change the events that led up to her death to ultimately save her life. So it was a commentary on grief and so heartbreaking because it pulls out these vignettes of little moments in a relationship that just, it's a celebration of life as much as it is about how awful grief is.
Yeah. I feel like really upset.
It really reminds me of Edith Finch, actually.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a lot of death happening.
Yeah, but a
year.
celebration of life that has a lot of grief in it.
Yeah.
It's only because of the rot that you can appreciate the blossom.
Aww.
I feel like this has gone like really deep.
We've really been through something.
True.
Gosh. Hellblade, obviously, let's just touch upon that again. Obviously, this is the perfect game for this category. It's almost like it's designed for it, no?
It was sorry.
No, I was just absolutely, I agree. I mean, you know, we were saying earlier about how it was made by people who looked at real research around psychosis, and I think that, I mean, it seems that this particular category is all about drawing the real world and putting it into the virtual world and vice versa, and Hellblade does that so well.
So the last one was See Hero Quest VR. Obviously, that was to do with dementia. Did any of you guys? Because obviously it came out before, and then this is the VR version. What did you guys think about that?
See Hero Quest VR is a really fascinating one because it's probably one of my personal favourites for this category because it actually contributes to real research around dementia. So if you play 2 minutes of this game, it's 5 hours of research they would have had to have mined from people in a lab. So I think so far 12,000 years of research has been generated from people playing the game, which is phenomenal. And the game itself is really fun, but like the actual fact that science and gaming are suddenly coming together and we're being able to use gaming as a way to fund and prompt these research. I just think it's amazing.
And not to get on my soapbox a little bit here, but that's one thing that gaming does great. You know, the fact that I think folding at home, I think it was 5, 6, 10 years ago that first started. Games like this that are actually doing proper empirical scientific data. Everyone says gamers, oh, it's a military shooter, it's Mario. There's so much depth and scope to the video game industry now. There's so many unique, transformative things going on through the medium of games, and it's so good to see us talking about these things rather than I like this jumpy game, I like this shooty game.
Yeah.
I like this game that is actually helping towards dementia research.
Yeah.
You're actually changing people's lives.
And I think we're only going to see this category go from strength to strength every year. And I think it's going to inspire people to make more games of this ilk, which can only be a good thing. So that leads us nicely on to saying us that, of course, nights like this are where Bafta recognises and rewards excellence, are amazing occasions. But the British Academy invests an amazing amount of resources into initiatives aimed at inspiring the next generation of talent across film, television and the games industries. This features a huge amount of hands-on involvement from the best in the business through mentoring, masterclasses and all-round inspiration. One of these is the Bafta Young Game Designers Competition. Budding 10 to 18-year-old designers can submit concepts or working prototypes, which are then judged by industry experts, and the shortlisted candidates are invited to Bafta for their own special award ceremony. The YGD competition has been running since 2010, and last year there was over 2,000 entries, and over half of the finalists submitted games with a social or educational focus. The winner of the 15 to 18 game-making category was Emily Mitchell, whose game Fractured Minds focused on mental health issues. Let's go take a look.
It is Fractured Minds by Emily Mitchell.
Can you tell us what it's all about?
Yeah, well, it's trying to portray mental health issues, and each room kind of represents a different challenge.
Timescale-wise, Emily, how long does it take from your concept to having a finished game that you can show people? How long does that take?
About a year, I would say.
Oh, and I have to ask as well, the baddie that you have in your game has haunted my dreams. Does it eventually go away?
Kind of.
No, it's really for that.
My game is all about the struggles of mental health, and for me personally it's about anxiety, and because I've experienced that in the past, and I really wanted players to get a better understanding of how it feels for people struggling with mental health issues. And also I wanted it to be open to interpretation, so it's not just about anxiety for me, it could be perceived as whatever the person is struggling with at the moment. As I was researching how to make games, I came across last year's winner, Spectrum, and I was just so impressed. It was so amazing, and it just really inspired me to go for it, because I thought, like, what do I have to lose?
Hi,
Hi, I'm here with Ashraf, game director for Assassin's Creed Origins, which is up for 3 awards, right? How are you feeling?
Amazing. It's we're celebrating this game that we worked so hard on, so it's wonderful to be here amongst all these people. Abu is here,
yes,
our Bayek, and so it's awesome to be here with him, to see him again and have this hurrah.
And I mean, like, let's be honest here. In the games industry, we don't get many opportunities to dress up, do we? You're looking very dapper in your tux, by the way.
Thank you very much. No, for some reason we don't. So it's cool to be here to try to look nice and to represent the team.
Absolutely. I mean, what do you think about the sort of batch of nominees for this year? I feel like there's a really great collection of games. We've had a vintage year, actually, really, haven't we?
Oh, this year has been insane.
Yeah.
In terms of, the competition's been incredible. There's some really brilliant games. I'm a huge fan of a lot of the games that are nominated tonight, and it's an honor to be amongst the nominees with these really wonderful games that I admire, and I'm blown away by what they've achieved. So I think it's been an amazing year for games, and it looks like 2018 is turning out to be another one too.
Pretty good one.
Yeah.
I mean, did you feel like, because an Assassin's Creed set in Egypt has been one that the fans have wanted for quite some time, did you feel a little bit of extra pressure with this one?
Well, we always feel the pressure, but I love the pressure. I thrive off of it. I need it. No, it was this big setting. There was an internal pressure to try to do respect to it and bring it to life in all its glory. So for sure for the fans, but we were also bringing in kind of like quests and RPG mechanics and all these elements that are new. So overall, there was a crazy amount of pressure. But I'm really proud of the result, and I'm honored that we're nominated for that effort. It's gratifying to, after 4 years of work, to have this reception.
Have it paid off, yeah. And I mean, the decision to have Bayek and Aya's relationship is such an important, integral part of the game. Like that's a bit of a, it was a bit of a risk, right? And it totally paid off because you got 2 brilliant performers. But
Absolutely.
What was the decision behind that?
We just felt we wanted to do something a little bit different that we don't normally see in video games, like a relationship, a husband and wife relationship. With Abu and Alex, they did such a phenomenal job. We actually tried to keep pushing it, and it was really that we felt it wasn't done. It's a lot of our player base, even us in the office. We're going through our own. So it felt mature and it felt right, and it felt natural that the birth of the brotherhood and came from a husband and wife. So it felt natural for us.
Games have all grown up. Ashraf, thank you so much, and good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, I suppose, when you're like a young person, like looking up at something like the Assassin's Creed franchise has got to be the dream. Obviously, we just had the YGD trailer, the VT that we just had just before. And, you wouldn't really believe the quality of each of these entries that has been submitted each year. I mean, it's actually quite scary how young, talented people come up with some of this stuff. I feel quite useless. Anyway, let's talk about some actually talented people. Let's talk about games in the frame for artistic achievement. And the nominees are, so let's have a quick chat through Cuphead. Obviously, super about the aesthetic here, as well as being quite punishing. Yeah, what do we think? Like the look of it?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal achievement, obviously. The artistic achievement of making something look that old and kind of scratched up.
Hard, yeah.
Like it was made 100 years ago, but also is a cutting-edge video game at the same time. That is an achievement, and it's an unusual...
A lot was hand-painted and stuff like that.
The whole thing's hand-animated.
Yeah.
The whole game. I mean, sorry to interject and talk over you, but, the thing I love about it is the fact that it is this, 1920s early rise of Disney in that old animation, but also it's a proper video game. Every little cue, every little mechanical thing is tied into the visual aesthetic, which is, it's one thing to make it look amazing, but to have it become a video game that's based on the look and the reactions is incredible. Again, if you play it again, there's so many background details, there's so many little animation details.
I don't look at that, I'm too busy. I have to restart because I died.
You're so focused on the character and dodging stuff. If you watch someone else play it on like a platform like Twitch or other streaming platforms, you get to see a lot of that, and it's an incredible artistic achievement again.
Yeah, did you like the look of it?
Oh, I loved it, and I think it's an artistic achievement. It's also technically the art style is so so well done because you've got all of those different disparate elements moving on screen all at once over this rear projection blur, and yet somehow they never make it feel chaotic. You're never like, I don't know what. I mean, you do. You're like, I don't know what's happening.
That's probably just me, like, but that's my own issue.
But like, not chaotic and overwhelming. I have no idea. You always know where the boss is. You always know where your bullets are, and you always know where the projectiles are, and you never kind of get hit by something and go, well, I just didn't see it. Like,
no, it was my fault. Yeah, it's readable. That was my fault.
Exactly. And that's real artistic achievement.
Yeah. So another one, which was Gorogoa. How many of you guys actually got a chance to play this? Because it was kind of, it wasn't, you know, like on the surface so much. It was kind of like that sort of like a little bit of a sleeper one that sort of went around.
It's beautiful. And it's also another hand-drawn game. It was drawn over 7 years by Jason Roberts, the developer. And he kept going back when because 7 years is a very long time. And you go from stick people to, you know, much better art skills, and as he got better and better, he'd go back and he'd redraw like whole squares, because essentially the game is all about, it's a puzzle game, but you move squares around the screen and you delve further and further into these kind of artscapes and landscapes and unlock secrets within them. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and it blows my mind to think of how you plan that out and storyboard it in the first place. No wonder it took 7 years.
Yeah, I think that's the game to watch in this category. Obviously, it's a very tough category. There's some big games here, but for a little indie game, like you were saying, the way these things kind of come into focus and different elements go to different parts of the screen, it is astounding. The fact that it's all hand animated and the fact that it all links together in these 4 panels, and then different vestiges and views are revealed to you, the way you interact with it, it's completely unique, and the art style is everything in that game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this win.
There was some, I don't know why, but part of it sort of reminded me a bit of Myst. I don't know why. There's some sort of element.
It's kind of the looking, discovering, and revealing things. It's that kind of mechanic. You know, you look at something, you reveal it, and then you move on.
So it was really interesting. Really interesting.
A game I can't recommend enough.
Okay, and of course Hellblade. That's in every category, obviously.
Check.
Check. Okay, and of course visually stunning. I mean, the facial animations are just out of this world. Were there any kind of particular favourite moments for you in the game, artistically, do you think? Very
uncanny when she looks basically down the lens.
Yeah.
You see that so rarely, if ever. I'm trying to think of another time when a character that photorealistically is looking down the lens at you, and it's so uncanny. And obviously that is the exact effect they were going for, and it was so effective. I salute that. I think that was an achievement.
And Hellblade marks a real milestone in motion capture technology, because they worked with Unreal Engine 4 to actually pioneer live, real-time motion capture that's directly rendered within the game. So there was an amazing conference where Melina Juergens actually stood up on stage and acted a scene live with all of the motion rig on, and it was directly imported so the audience saw it on the screen, and that's phenomenal. Like, we've never been able to do that before now.
Okay, I think we've got another little interview on the red carpet there. Aoife is down there with Dantdm, but he's getting everywhere.
He was just here.
What?
Well, this man needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. It's Dantdm. You've already been with the guys in the studio, right? And you've already chatted a bit to this. How are you feeling about tonight? What do you think about this year's batch of nominees?
I think the batch of nominees, I think all of them are incredible. What's great is the whole, such a diverse set of people, games, people behind the scenes that are up for nominations today. It's great.
What do you think? Because there's so many indie developers nominated, and there's AAA in there. Do you think there's anything that those two sort of camps can learn from each other? I feel like they're starting to. It's starting to all coalesce a little bit.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think indie titles are starting to contest the AAAs all the time. It's like, it's great to see, because it shows that anyone can create a game and it become the next phenomenon. It's great.
What do you think events like this, BAFTA Games, sort of means to games as an industry? I mean, do you think awards still have their place?
It's awesome that they have them, because it kind of legitimizes video games as a whole. The video game world is massive. It rivals movies, so why shouldn't it have its own BAFTA award show?
Right, exactly. Have you got any favorites for tonight? Any games that you've got your particular eye on?
I really want to see Cuphead do really well. That was one of my favorite games, not just of last year and this year, but ever. It was so good. The animation, the music, absolutely everything. So I hope that does well today.
Do you think that, it seems like this week especially, right? We've got GTA 5 being the most profitable entertainment product of all time, and we've got Ready Player One just come out. Do you think the conversation in mainstream about games is changing?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, stuff like this, with facts like this coming out, like GTA, I think it outsold every movie of all time. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I didn't even know that before I came out. Didn't expect that at all.
All right, well, Dan, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Back to you guys.
So Horizon Zero Dawn was actually, very lauded for its particular aesthetic and its look. Was it one of your favourites at all?
In terms of the art style?
Yeah.
How do you describe it?
It's kind of shiny. It's like got that shiny thing.
Sure, let's say that.
Yeah.
The combination of like the technological influences and the kind of Native American inspired clothing, for instance, and the housing, all of that stuff was really fresh. It was a really colourful game. That sounds like a pretty basic thing to say, but
things have been really brown.
Yeah, well,
things have been really brown.
Quite brown, and so it's that kind of that popping colour. Along with how much of a technological achievement it is visually, I think really makes it stand out. And yeah,
shiny.
No,
I'm just kidding. Tim, what did you think? Did you like the style?
I've watched a lot of it. I haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn. I say
but you
again.
But you need to see it to answer this question.
But yeah, it's one thing I think does really well is as mentioned earlier is the fact that it's this post-apocalyptic world. So you don't know what to expect. Things are new but have grown from rotting and then have become pared down but become new, and that's something that's hard to pull off, be authentic. As a viewer, you're instantly going to reject something that doesn't feel authentic like that, and yet it manages to convey a believable world that is so far in our fantastical imaginations that is something that needs to be applauded, and it's, there's a reason why this game's been nominated for so many awards.
Elisa, you mentioned the tall necks, they're called, right?
The Starship Enterprise heads.
They were brilliant. What a brilliant creature design, and not just a creature design. It's also a functional piece of the landscape, and it's the radio mast. It's the tower
how
you climb.
open up the map.
But that was brilliant. That's such a brilliant design.
Okay, I think we're going to chuck it back down to the red carpet as Aoife has got another stellar interview for us. Aoife, who have you got?
I'm here with Ralph Ineson, who's giving out an award for Best Performer tonight.
Yes, indeed.
Now, that's actually changed because it used to be Best Voice Actor, but nowadays the game's technology has come so far that it's a full body performance nowadays. I mean, do you think that more and more actors will start to come to games because of that?
I really hope they do. It's great fun. I did Assassin's Creed Black Flag a few years ago, so we did a lot of motion capture for that. I've just been working on Ready Player One, which is a lot of motion capture for that. And it's an exciting way of working. I thought when I first came into it, it'd be very technical and very kind of dry.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the opposite. It's quite freeing because the motion capture takes every shot you could possibly want from a scene in each take. So you don't have to worry about continuity or this kind of thing. It kind of frees you up as an actor. So you're not having to repeat things. You can take it where you want.
But it must be difficult as well because a lot of the time you wouldn't have anything to react to. I mean, is it more difficult in that sense?
There is in a sense, but the work that I've done, I've been working with actors and certain kind of makeshift props, which help as well. So yeah, it's not completely acted to tennis balls, but you do that in CGI movies anyway. So we're used to all that.
Do you think that the conversation around games has changed so that scripts are becoming more enticing as well? Like it seems like this year in particular, the narrative and the story in games is becoming more complex and more mature.
Absolutely. I mean, you can sit down and watch the sections of any of these games as a piece of art, as a movie. So yeah, they are. It's coming on a lot.
Do you have any good gaming memories from growing up?
I was kind of the first Atari generation, so that ages me a little. So I was really good at asteroids, and I used to love asteroids. So,
I mean, events like Bafta, do you think that kind of like legitimizes games a little bit more in the mainstream eye?
I hope so. I mean, they're a massive part of the creative industry in this country, and the creative industry in this country is such a money maker for us. So I think we need to embrace it and we need to celebrate it.
The UK games industry is pretty much where it all started as well. So we own this place. Ralph, thank you so much. Have a great night. Back to you guys.
Yes, obviously Ralph's giving out the Best Performer award there, one of the most hotly contested categories, and I was winding most of them up last night at the party, pretending that I was going to guess who was going to win. It was hilarious. Sorry. Just for me, anyway. So we're talking artistic achievement still. Next up, of course, is Legend of Zelda. It makes everyone's head turn sideways when they think of it. It's like,
is this your pick?
Yeah.
I think, there's moments in that game that are as beautiful as any game I've played. There's, where the sun is shining or the sun goes down down, or the wind flowing through the air, or when you set the tree on fire. There's so many beautiful moments in that game. There's very few games where I can just wander, not do anything mechanical, and still be completely enthralled. And this is one of those games. It's astounding.
Yeah. Anyone else like to? Come on, you must have. Everyone has to have an opinion on The Legend of Zelda, surely.
Well, I'm going to be controversial and say it was a piece of... No, obviously. The reason
I was about ready to get
James, my God, I was about to have like a
obviously, I concur. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely, it was amazing.
No one has anything to add.
I mean, one of the things that I loved about Breath of the Wild is obviously it's a systemic game, so it has loads of different systems that interact with each other. So when it rains, that means that your footsteps are quietened, so you can sneak up better on enemies compared to when it's dry. And for art to reflect that's really tough. Like from a technical achievement standpoint, that's amazing, but also the art department then have to essentially create all of these different scenes a million different times as they switch, and how do they interact with each other and what happens, and the lighting effects. I mean, there's so much to render there, and it's seamless.
Next up, we're going to talk about Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. I don't think I've ever played a game where I've been like, I really, really want a holiday, and this game is making me want to go places and do stuff. Yes. What did you guys think of it artistically?
Gorgeous, yeah. I was going to say the same thing. It makes me want to go on holiday, except not to that place with the puzzles with the shadows.
No.
Anywhere but there.
No.
Good holiday. Yeah. No, it was so gorgeous. Another just feast of colour and everything I want from an Uncharted game, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it does really make me feel like I should stop playing video games and go outside, because there's some cool stuff to see. But then I remind myself that I don't live in any of those places, and I go back to play the game. What about you, Tim?
Naughty Dog are masters of technical stuff like that. They just, I've recently got a 4K TV. My viewers know I've been talking about it all the time.
Fancy pants.
And it's one of the first games I put on the 4K TV.
Oh wow!
It's astounding with HDR and all that technology, and it's like, as you say, it's like you're there. You almost feel the warmth of the tropical locations. And
it depends how close you sit to the TV.
And also, I have a bit of a crush on Chloe, so she's always good to leave that there. But it looks great.
And in 4K, it's actually in better resolution than if you went on holiday.
True.
Exactly. More pixels.
I have to wear glasses as well, so it's all smudged.
You've got to make sure your eyes are tested constantly, otherwise you miss the entire point of a 4K TV. Anyway, Alicia, did you enjoy it?
When you look at all the Uncharted games, going right back to the first, and then you put Uncharted Lost Legacy there next to them, you see how far artistically it's gone, and just from the character design to the locations, it's come such a long way, and it's one of the bastions of the gaming calendar.
Absolutely. I think we should move on to British game, because we are in the UK and this is Bafta. I know, I was like, British game, like somehow, I don't know, I'm being weird. Right, so obviously Hellblade, that's obviously
that again.
List there.
Right.
That one again. nine characters, it's quite amazing really. So obviously, I can completely understand why that's up for Best British Game. It's really kind of changed how people are sort of thinking about things. But also we had Monument Valley too, so... I know you've played this.
Yeah.
Did you love it?
I loved it. Yes, it launched as a bit of a surprise, actually.
Yeah,
out of nowhere a little bit, and I finished it. I think that probably the day or the day after it came out. Didn't at all parcel it out for myself. Just really monstered it, and it is so sweet. And obviously, I mean, if you're familiar with the premise of Monument Valley, it is that, but it is story driven in a way I didn't expect, so story driven and character driven, wordlessly, in a way that is just precious. It's a precious little jewel box of a game in my phone, and I love it. Yeah.
Oh wow! Because I think it's always quite funny sometimes. Like we were talking before about another game kind of coming along, and you're expecting it to be a certain way, and then it just completely surprises you. I don't know. I feel like because there was always this period where things were quite repetitive, we naturally think, well, they've made one game. Obviously, that just means they're just going to make 10 of the same. Yeah. And then actually, if you're a good game designer, why would you want to make the same game again, It's
also tiny design tweaks. Essentially, one of the main changes that they did was just add a second character, and that changes everything. And if you just find one tiny addition, you can make a really clever sequel that is actually completely different.
Talking of characters, I think Aoife's got one downstairs who's up for Best Performer this year from Bayek from Assassin's Creed. It's Abu Bakr Salim. Aoife, hello, how's he doing?
Hi, yes.
Where are we going?
You can't hear it, but Julia was just slagging you off there from the other side of the camera.
Serious? Are you really? Is he really?
I'm tattletaling on her. She's the worst. It's all right. We'll just ignore her. We'll be mean to her later on. It'll be fine.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, how are you feeling?
Nervous.
Yeah?
Nervous, but also very excited. Like, I think this is so amazing to be a part of. So I'm literally just like, okay, I'm here. Do you know what I mean? It feels like I'm like here by accident. And everyone's like, so what does it feel like to be, nominated? I'm like, I am. So yes, is this going on? Okay.
Because this is your first performance, like games performance, right?
Yeah, first video game, and it's I played a lot of them, but this is like I've never really imagined it being like getting into it. You know what I mean? So
it's such a great category this year, and weirdly, so many of the performers are first-time performers. It's a really strong bunch.
I know, it's brilliant, and I think that's so exciting. I think that's like it's fresh, it's nice, everyone's got a new story to tell, everyone's got a new experience to share. I think that's brilliant. I think that's it's inspiring,
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what Bafta is about. It's about inspiring and, pushing things forward, which I think we always do, and I think that's what these games this year definitely do.
Absolutely, and I think that hopefully it continues that way, and we keep pushing that way, and yeah, it's very, very exciting.
So you said you sort of grew up and playing a lot of games. Like, what were your favorite ones growing up?
What were my favorite games? Yeah. So I'd say the one I can remember, I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Mega Drive. But I'd say the ones that really kind of made me get into games. Kingdom Hearts was a big game for me. That was the first. Oh my god. He was the hardest boss to kill.
I know.
He was so ridiculous. And I loved it. I mean, it was actually one of the games that I remember playing and crying to, because it was just, as a kid, it was the only game that kind of really got me. So that was good fun. What else? I remember I spent a lot of years of my life on World of Warcraft, which was
6 years of my life.
Are you serious? Yeah. This is the thing. It took so much from me. But
Night Elf Druid. Alliance for the one.
See, I was really boring. I was like a human paladin, and every time I know, but this is the thing. It's overpowered, kind of,
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of really cheap. It's like a cheap.
If you had a good time, whatever.
Yeah, I had a great time. So.
But what about making a game wasn't what you expected? What was different about it?
Yeah, I think the difference about making a game was that it was so freeing and so beautiful to sort of be in an environment where literally everyone was excited about making a game. I think that was one of the big things that kind of sort of shot out to me. So that was great. That was a great learning experience.
I think that's what's great about events like this as well, is that everyone in the games industry is so passionate, and you get them all together in a room, and it's like, yes.
Yeah, and that's what really, I mean, having worked with Ubisoft on Assassin's Creed, and there's loads of people working on it. And I tell you, each and every one was so excited about the game. Each and every one was so passionate about it, and it's so refreshing. It's so freeing. It's lovely to do.
Brilliant. All right.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
We'll get Julia later. Better watch yourself.
Don't worry about it.
Back to you.
I'm on it already. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, never have your best friend on the red carpet, because she will just mess with you. Aoife Wilson, you are in so much trouble. Sorry, let's leave that alone. Right, we are talking about Best British Game. Reigns Her Majesty, very British sounding, because, we like kings and queens and all that stuff.
You like this one?
We do like this one. Did you play the first one? What did you think of the second one? Any takers here?
It was a real... Oh, sorry, are you...
No, I really liked it. I really liked the fact it's kind of like sociology...
Dude, give it up. Sociological.
What did you think of the game, James?
No, I want to know what you're going to say sociologically now.
It's like sociological Tinder.
Yes.
Because it's left or right swiping, but you're making these huge decisions about humans and politics and the state and religion.
It's really hard.
And, even though you're just going left or right, you're having some really complex decisions that echo forward, and, you have a queen die and you think, oh, she was one of the better queens, and you get really involved in a game that's essentially left or right swiping.
One thing, normally when you get the games that are sort of like the kind of perpetual runners, and I get really bored with that, I'm like, I need to know there's like an end to this, there's got to be somewhere I'm going. I don't want to just do the same thing over and over. But actually with Reigns, I would keep going back again and again and again and again because I was like, I can do better. My subjects will love me.
When you have one really bad short life and you mess it up immediately and it's like Julia the failure and that's next, yeah.
That's literally written on my business cards.
Queen Julia, though. That's not bad.
The Queen Julia, still not great. Alicia, did you play the game? What do you think?
No, I completely agree with you. It's almost like a narrative temple run in some ways.
Yes,
because it's got that thing of I can run that little bit faster, or I can make my kingdom live a little bit longer, and you always want to go back and beat your previous achievement.
It was, I really loved it, and I loved the kind of the Tinder swiping. I thought that was such a clever way of doing it. Let's talk about the Sexy Brutale. So, did any of you guys actually play this game?
Yeah, I played it at preview, I remember, because we were so taken with the way it looks, and it's got this like dual-coloured, isometric.
Yes,
you know,
it reminded me of like really old Spectrum games. Like if you go like way back, they used to have a lot of kind of old Spectrum games that were that kind of isometric projection of a room, and you had to sort of solve the puzzles, but like not Spectrum graphics, obviously, because that would be terrible.
But with insanely complicated time travel puzzles.
Yes, well, they didn't have them, but
no, this time.
Yes,
absolutely.
It was really good. I thought. I really love the idea of kind of going back in time and kind of switching things around, and then you're trying to save everyone's life. And I just liked snooping around the rooms and seeing what was going on, really. What was kind of one of your favourite bits?
So the way you say snooping around the rooms, it reminds me of why I like walking simulators as well. It's just voyeurism and exploration. I just like going through people's stuff.
Yes,
Sexy Brutale also for that reason.
It's kind of like an interactive diorama. Like it's got this kind of, this cause and effect, kind of that thing happens and you see that character interact with that. And it's kind of this, it's part isometric puzzler, it's part kind of story character game, and it's part time traveling puzzler. There's so many unique things to it. It's such a unique, fresh idea and something that only Britain can do. Of course.
That was amazing. Whoa. Someone needs to Twitch clip that. Twitch clip that.
No, don't.
Can you? Because we'd love to see it.
It's embarrassing.
That's not the worst thing you've done tonight, so don't worry.
No, it's not. Not by a long way.
The sociological bit will be the one that will be.
Okay, thanks for reminding everyone about that. Great.
Alicia, did you get a chance to play the game?
I think what's really wonderful about the Sexy Brutale is the fact that the puzzles themselves are so cleverly designed, because you go from essentially walking into a situation and every murder that you solve is so different, and yet you know the beats that you've got to. So you suddenly feel very good at the game when you've only played a few missions, and you can kind of lather, rinse, repeat the approach, and yet it still feels fresh each time.
So, Sniper Elite 4, that's up for Best British Game. Any sort of thoughts on that particular title?
We play actually quite a bit of this on Outside Xbox.
Yeah.
It's received quite well.
Yeah.
People love a bit of sniping.
Yeah.
Sort of lying down in the long grass waiting for someone to pass through the crosshairs. Yeah. Internet loves sniping.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Nothing wrong with a little bit of sniping. I don't know. I'm not that.
If that's your bag in Call of Duty, why not play a game that's all that? Is what I'm saying.
Mind blown.
I didn't even see that pun. Mind blown. I like it. Anyway, I've lost train of my thought. One thing I really love about Sniper Elite is the customizable difficulty. You can make it almost like a very easy kind of vanilla game, or you can turn on all these physics options, bullet drop, certain sound options, and it becomes almost a completely different game. And you can really make it bespoke to your flavour and taste. And I think that's something that more games need to do. Rather than have it's easy, medium, hard, it's got all kinds of different parameters, and it becomes a different game. You can turn off the crazy slow motion, head explode. You can just turn that off and make it into a real like military simulation almost.
Interesting.
Really good.
Did you get a chance to play it, Alicia?
There have been so many shooters this year, everything from like Sniper Elite 4, Destiny, Call of Duty, and I think on all of those games, Sniper Elite 4 included, it's the audio achievement that I think is really fascinating, because you've got to essentially get a load of gunfire sounds and not only have those sound realistic, but also present them to a player in a way that the presenter knows their sound cues, knows where they are on the battlefield, understands where enemies are, and Sniper Elite 4 does that really, really well.
I remember, obviously when we were looking at Battlefield 1, we went over to DICE, and DICE, they go
Oh, the sound design
deep into that.
It's unreal.
And we were interviewing the sound guys, and they were like, we took some bullets and guns into different kinds of forests. Sometimes they were caves. Sometimes they were caves with brooks. Sometimes they were caves every different possible
Do you think
version.
they can hear it when they listen back? Yeah, that's a deciduous forest. Yeah, no, that was a temperate rainforest with the bullets.
No, that's exactly it. And I was like, did you have this weird checklist? And they were like,
got it.
Yes, we did. Amazing. So I think Aoife is down on the carpet with the player unknown himself, Brendan Green. Aoife, say hi from me.
Julia says hi, basically.
Oh, hey Julia.
How are you doing? You're looking very sharp.
Thank you very much. It's it's the Baftas, so
Yeah,
you got to step up your game, right?
You have to, yeah. So how are you feeling about this year's nominations?
Little humbled. Like really, it's the Baftas. I'm Irish, and the Baftas are a very honourable reward to receive.
I'm Irish too. It's all right. We'll gang up on them.
Right.
It's fine.
I mean, it's just it means something very special to me. The Baftas I've always seen as kind of up there, so it's very special for me to be here today. So,
And I mean, it must be like, after so much hard work and so many years put into PUBG, like it's a real validation, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got quite a few awards over the past, 6 months, and it really is a big validation for the team. They work their hearts out in this game, and they put in long hours, and to get this recognition is so valuable for them.
And it's been a long journey, and it's still an ongoing journey as well. How are things?
I mean, we want to do this for the next 20 years. We really want to build out a platform for game modes and for possible esports. So we're committed to supporting this game for a long time. So I can't wait to see what we do in the future.
And the new map's coming up as well.
Yes, indeed.
How are you feeling?
It's great. I mean, we're opening up our second round of testing now I think it's on Tuesday. Keys for the website for Keys opens on Saturday. So, I can't wait for people to really try it out. More faster paced battle royale.
I'm still struggling with Erangel. I've only gotten 2 chicken dinners. Come on, man.
And we have the 8x8 coming out later this year as well. Yes. So, but this is it. It's all about testing you as much as we can in as many different situations and really testing your mettle as a player.
But do you know what I actually love is, I am terrible at that game, but I love it so much, and, it's still rewarding even if you're terrible at it.
Well, this is it. It gives you the freedom to play bad, to play good, to play whatever way you want. If you want to hot drop and go mad with people, or if you want to just go to loot collecting, for most of the game you can do it. And,
this is it.
Become friends with a bush. It's
Murder
just
bush. That is what I call, that's the best tactic, and I
just
don't
shoot
care.
all the bushes, right?
It might be cowardly, I don't care. Murder bush. Anyway, Brendan, good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I feel like that's the quote of the night, become a friend with a bush. It's a good rule for life there. So we haven't quite finished this category yet. So we're talking about Total War Warhammer. Any particular fans of this game?
I'm rooting for those guys, Creative Assembly. I have not actually played Total War Warhammer.
Yeah.
That's not my bag exactly.
Yeah.
But I do love a bit of Creative Assembly from time to time. And wish them well.
Yeah. Tim?
I really like Total Warhammer. I'm a big fan of the Total War games in general. I don't know that much about Warhammer, so it's compared to say Total War Empire or Total War Rome, when you can identify things, you get it. Total Warhammer is a bit of you need to know what's going on. All I know is I like the rat Cockney people. They speak like Cockney. But in terms of the macro and micro design, you've got this huge open world where you've got all the tactical stuff and planning for a battle and moving your troops in, and then you just let them go at war and it can all go wrong. That sense of build up and planning and then letting it all unfurl on the battlefield is something that's really, really compulsive, and it's a really incredible, mega labyrinthian game, and you can play it for hundreds of hours and still find new content.
I just see this is where I have the problem. It's the planning. Planning, not my forte. I believe Aoife has another guest for us on the carpet. Aoife, who have you got?
Hey, I'm here with Melon. How are you doing? You're looking
Good.
gorgeous.
How are you? Thank you so much.
So you're giving out Best Original Property tonight. I mean, what do you think about events like this, sort of bringing up the name of gaming in the public eye?
It's fun. It's great. It's my first time. This is going to be a learning experience for me, just coming out of a film that's based on a video game, Rampage. Yes. So it's exciting to be here and sort of see what's out there.
What have you kind of learned through Rampage and everything else about the wonderful world of video games?
Growing up, I remember Rampage in the arcades. I have a young son now who's about to be 5. And he loves going to the arcade. So right now, it's all the simple games that we do together. I've never been a big gamer. Super Mario Brothers was as far as I got. So it's a whole new world that's opening up to me.
Absolutely, and I mean, but it's starting to sort of filter through. Fortnite is such a huge thing right now. You've got Ready Player One, you've got Rampage.
Yeah.
I mean, gaming is more in the public eye than ever before. Do you see gaming getting even bigger? Do you think that you're going to have to start learning a little bit more about gaming?
Absolutely. I think if anyone's going to teach me, it'll be my son. But I think gaming seems to be a huge platform. I think obviously because of all the devices that are available and everything is, social media and everything that has to do with technology is really it's really up and coming. So I think I will have to catch up eventually.
And what do you think about Bafta? I mean, it's such a great honor to sort of because it's not just about giving out awards. It's about shining a spotlight on all different kinds of media and how to tell stories. I mean, would you be tempted sort of to go into games as a way of sort of performance and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There are actors who go in and do voiceovers, and I'd be 100% into that. Again, any new experiences I'm super excited about, and to be able to learn about new platforms and any way to artistically express yourself.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
He looked. And obviously we are going to be talking about Best Game because it's almost time to throw to the floor for the main ceremony. So all of this talk will be null and void in a minute.
We've got hours of conversation left.
We have. We're just going to carry on anyway, but we'll just turn the mics and the cameras off. It's fine. So Best Game, what is everyone's hot pick? Go on, let's call it now. Jane Douglas, outside Xbox.
It's going to be Edith Finch.
Edith Finch.
Bet you real money.
Ooh, I feel like we should have it. Are we allowed to
No,
have a bit of a gamble?
No.
Bit of a gamble?
Do it later.
Do it later. All right, Tim, what would you say is your?
My personal favourite is probably Breath of the Wild. I think Edith Finch is going to win as well. I think it's very much a BAFTA game, and it's incredible for what it does. So, but anything can win. I think it's one of the most open categories. So
that's fair, actually.
Because of course, I mean, you've got Assassin's Creed Origins, Hellblade, Horizon Zero Dawn, obviously Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Odyssey, and What Remains of Edith Finch. Do you concur?
Do I concur?
Do you concur?
Oh, it's so hard because I love all of those games, and all of them within their own right deserves to win a Best Game award. I mean, I also love What Remains of Edith Finch, but I think Best Game it's very much an all-rounder, almost like deserving something from every category.
Yep.
And Hellblade clearly is deserving. I think Breath of the Wild it was the top of so many Game of the Year lists for a reason. It's just a masterclass in game design, in how you reinvigorate a franchise that's pretty much as old as console gaming itself. I don't know, I think it could go to anyone. Do you know what? I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed. It's definitely the best Assassin's Creed game that's been made.
I don't know about that. That's all.
Is that controversial? Is that the clang to it?
Assassin's Creed 2 is really good, but I do love Assassin's Creed Origins, especially that new exploratory mode that's just come out recently where you get to just learn about Egypt and there's no enemies, there's no fighting.
It was such a waste of all that kind of historical stuff that it was like, well, we can't use this in schools because, the assassinating. Right.
I've actually used it, and you get to. I was dressed as like a homeless person wandering around Egypt, learning about Egypt, and it's like I love that. I love the fact that I can have that option in games now.
And just even the level of historical research they put into that game, Bayek has a way of reloading his arrows where he holds 3 in his draw hand, and so it essentially turns his arrow into a machine gun because he can just go flip, 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 flip. That's the technical firing term.
Oh yeah.
And but the way that Ashraf Ismail, who's a director, and his team learned about this was by studying different paintings and drawings and old scrolls within ancient Egypt, and they were like, hang on a sec, people have 3 arrows hanging from their hands. What's that about? And then made that a mechanic in the game. There's so many cool details that they plucked from history and made a mechanic.
Well, I mean, they've always been quite renowned for hiring historians and stuff.
Yeah.
I just always thought it was a bit of a waste that it was only, sometimes, older people who could actually get to kind of play the games. Because history was always one of those categories at school that was like, this is actually super dull to read from a book. I don't want to use my imagination. Why can't someone show me? Or the worst one where they bring you in and make you watch a video of the world at war for 3 hours because obviously they lost their lesson plan.
The World at War is an incredible documentary series.
Yeah, but come on, why? I could watch that at home.
I understand the point you're making, but let's not disparage the World at War, please.
I'm not disparaging the World at War. Wow, who knew we had a fan of that in the house? Slightly awkward.
I'm getting a bit exasperated.
I would probably say mine will be Legend of Zelda just because it's that kind of big scale. I think that will kind of possibly play in as a factor the sort of size of the game as well. But I think definitely Edith Finch it's between one of those two.
Nintendo vote could be split though. Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild could.
I don't know, but then Mario is Mario, and he's kind of been quite Mario-y for quite some time.
Is it the best game in terms of innovation, in terms of...
I think Mario Odyssey, you could say, I think it's the best Mario game ever. I'd put it up against Galaxy or 64.
Yeah, but is it the best game?
I think Breath of the Wild does incredible things, and it's so fresh. It's emergent design. The things we were talking about earlier, the systemic design, the fact that everything links together. It's almost a turning point for the industry, especially in open world game design. And I think if I was voting, or if I was deciding, I'd vote for Breath of the Wild. But I can see Edith Finch winning. I can see Mario winning. I can see Assassin's Creed winning.
That's not an answer, Tim.
I can't wait to watch the ceremony and see who wins.
I think ultimately it will be Breath of the Wild. I would also place a bet on that if we want to go down
right,
that
let's do
path.
that.
We should have just done this. It should have been like some sort of weird quiz night. They should combine the Bafta Games Awards with a late night quiz show where it's you can have see who everyone's voting for. I don't know if that's a way of funding the Baftas. I don't know. I think there's so many great games on there, and all of these categories. I mean, we don't even have time to even begin to go through all of them because there's just so much. I'm really, really excited about the future of games. I always get this way when it's BAFTA season. I always get this way. I'm really, really excited about the future of games. I do actually believe we've got one more kind of interview on the carpet there. Aoife, who do you have for us?
So I'm here with Akala, who's giving out the award for Games Beyond Entertainment.
I am indeed.
That's a really exciting new category this year because it's all about celebrating games that actually do something more than just sort of fill time and are fun. What do you think about the nominees for that category?
I'm really interested to give out the award, and I'm really interested to recognise people that are trying to use their platform within a world that's not traditionally known for social consciousness to try and use this world and this tech for to at least raise consciousness to a certain degree.
And it's really exciting because this year feels like the perfect year. It feels like the year that games have really sort of committed to doing that, and there's some brilliant stories being told. Have you actually got a chance to play any of them yourself?
I haven't yet, but I look forward to doing so.
Amazing. Do you think the games can be something beyond just something fun? Do you think that games should tackle more challenging subjects?
Yeah, I definitely think they should, and I think that's true of all art and all popular culture in a sense. I don't, people who know me and know my work will know I'm not so much a believer in art for art's sake always. I do think art should have something to say about the world. I do believe that even, companies and artists and software exists within the world and should be commenting on that. And I think actually games in a way can, because of the manner in which they can tell such big, long narratives, are kind of uniquely positioned in a way to contribute to education and to things of that nature.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Have an amazing night. Cheers. Back to you guys.
I think we've still got a little bit of time to chat about debut game, because actually I think that's one of the most interesting categories as well, because you're right out the gate, all of a sudden you're whisked away and you're slightly tipsy at a BAFTA event. I mean, who knows? So obviously within that category, we've got Cuphead, Gorogoa, Hollow Knight, Night in the Woods, Sexy Brutale, and Slime Rancher. Are there any kind of standout faves in there? Night in the Woods, obviously. Know that answer.
Yeah, well, we've already talked about, I think, all of those except for Slime Rancher, which I was going to bring up because it is adorable.
I haven't played this one. What happens?
You ranch slimes. You're a slime rancher.
But they're really cute slimes.
They're
lots
little
of personality.
Yeah.
And
They're just sentient blobs in different colours, and sometimes they get eaten by each other, and then they excrete stuff and you sell it. I mean, I don't know why it's so hard to grasp you.
This is the problem I have sometimes talking about video games on the radio, because you actually verbally explain it out loud and you sound like a crazy person. Really, you're like, oh yeah, and you just ranch some slimes, and they're like,
of course.
No, obviously
It's
not.
extremely fun, and it's extremely impressive as a debut game. Very polished, actually, very cool idea, very well executed, extremely cute and consistent in its style, a very impressive achievement, but obviously a very strong field as well of nominees.
It is very tough in that category.
Hollow Knight as well is a really, really good game.
Tell us about that.
It's a bit of I hate to use the term, but it's a bit of a Metroidvania, whereas you explore and then unlock and then rediscover, and you're kind of left to your own devices, but it's got this incredible aesthetic, incredible sound design. It's very otherworldly as well, very unique, and really, really good game that you can really get into, and it's great to see it nominated here.
Yeah.
I find just the debut game category really fascinating, because there's ultimately two ways you can look at it. It's what the quality of the game, considering that it's a studio's or a person's first game, or actually as a debut, what it also brings to the industry, because it's a fresh perspective. Often I find that we can tend to, as an industry, look for our inspiration from within ourselves and say, oh, I'm making this game. It's Angry Birds, but with cats, you know. But like, actually, debut games can really bring new
There's
energy.
someone literally making that game right now. You said that. Yeah, like
or someone's
literally.
watching the stream and they're like, "That's an excellent idea."
Angry cat.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But you know, so you look at Gorogoa. You know, I have never played a game like Gorogoa. I've also never played a game with such witty and poignant dialogue as Night in the Woods. There's Cuphead is a completely different take on taking Max Fleischer and that 1920s aesthetic. So you really look at the debut game category, and suddenly you see risks and you see creativity, and yeah, I'll be intrigued to see which one of those ones comes out on top.
Okay, if I was to say to you, right, you've got to play one of those games right now, what game would you want to play? What would you want to pick up and play?
Of the debut games?
Yeah.
Night in the Woods.
Night in the Woods?
Go for that again. I'd play it again.
I'd probably say
Yeah.
Cuphead, but
Yeah.
I'd say, based on what you just said, I think that Gorogoa should win because it is the best debut. Like that, the fact that it's new and what it's bringing to the industry and the puzzle mechanics and the art style. I think you've convinced me that it should be Gorogoa. I'm really disappointed it doesn't win now.
Wow. Well, we've got Aoife ready and has wrangled, I was not going to say the word slime because that's weird, but wrangled her own celebrity on the carpet there. Aoife, who do you have for us?
Hello there, I am here with Tamim Antoniadis. I mean, 9 nominations for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. You must be feeling pretty good, because them's good odds.
I'm walking on air, I can't believe it. It's amazing.
I mean, it's such a great game, and obviously the risk has paid off, but you must have been like, I don't know, was there ever any point you were like, can we really do this?
Yeah, right from the beginning to the very last day we shipped. It was a terrifying experience because, you know, it's about a serious issue. It's about severe mental illness, and if you get something like that wrong, it can affect people in a very negative way. So it was terrifying all the way through.
I mean, like, I really hope that Hellblade getting 9 nominations actually shows games and games industry and industries worldwide that we do want serious issues and we do want to tackle these issues as well.
Yeah, and I think for us it was a bit of an artistic rebellion against the commercial machine juggernaut of big games. And the fact that we were severely under-resourced, our team was much smaller, we had to find our own funding. The fact that it's paid off like this, I think, will inspire us to keep doing this, and I think it'll inspire other team members, other teams to go the independent route, find a voice, find the path least trodden.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's nothing stopping people now, you know, it's more accessible than ever before. And I mean, yeah, like you say, I was chatting to Melina earlier and like she was a video editor and she's just incredible in that role.
Yeah, she's amazing. I mean, she's never done anything like this. She wasn't acting. This is the thing. She wasn't acting. She was being who she is.
Yeah.
We built Senua around her. We scanned her face, scanned her body, and we everything that you see, the raw emotion, is based on her own lived experience, and that's why it feels so powerful. So hats off to her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like winning a Bafta, what would it mean to you going forward? Because you say, you know, you're railing against the machine. I mean, this is gonna like, you know, people are gonna come knocking at your door now.
I know, we're going to be part of the machine now, aren't we? We're part of the establishment. No, it's going to be amazing. And you know what, I'm really proud, not just for the team, but for the collaborators, you know, the people with lived experience who've worked with us for 3 years, and the clinicians and neuroscientists, like, they put their reputations on the line for this game, and it's paid off for them.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, congratulations already, because just being here is an amazing achievement. Good luck tonight. I'm going to go take my seats. You probably should too. Guys, enjoy the show, and we'll see you afterwards.
That Aoife Wilson is in so much trouble later. I'll find her in her seat. I feel like we should go through some predictions because we're still getting everyone sat down because obviously champagne reception is in full swing. I believe ours is just over there somewhere. So I reckon we should just go through some of the categories and let's see how many we get right. And this is worked out whether you get to come back next year.
This is what we think's going to win, not what we want to win.
This is who we think's going to win.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah?
On the record.
Everyone's taking notes, I hope. All right, okay, artistic achievement. We've got Cuphead, Gorogoa, Hellblade, Horizon Zero Dawn, Legend of Zelda, Uncharted. So artistic achievement.
I think Cuphead might take it.
Cuphead?
Zelda.
Gorogoa.
Oh!
Controversial. Amazing, all right. Audio achievement, okay. So we've got Call of Duty, World at War 2, Destiny 2, Hellblade, Horizon Zero Dawn, Star Wars Battlefront, Uncharted, The Lost Legacy. You're going to predict?
I think Hellblade for sound.
Yeah,
yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, I think Hellblade, even though Battlefront 2 is a strong shout in that category, but Hellblade.
It kind of uses it in a slightly different way. So.
Yeah, it's hard to compare, but yeah.
Yeah, I think binaural might cinch it. Although saying that, Destiny 2, the sound of that cold heart rifle, the kind of that deserves a Bafta in itself.
Say that again.
That deserves a Bafta.
That's the best sound design.
There you go. Were they just recording you?
Subtle self-plug.
Okay, done. Okay, so best game we've obviously already touched upon. British game. So Hellblade, Monument Valley 2, Reigns, Her Majesty, The Sexy Brutale, Sniper Elite 4, Total War Warhammer. Who's going to win that one?
It's going to be Hellblade.
Yep, Hellblade.
For sure.
Yeah, Hellblade.
And good on them, good on Ninja Theory. I mean, it's like it's a guaranteed thing, but should it be Ninja Theory, then good on them, Ninja Theory. That is excellent. I am happy for you if it happens in the future.
Debut game, we've got Cuphead, Gorogoa, Hollow Knight, Night in the Woods, The Sexy Brutale, Slime Rancher. What do we predict?
I think Cuphead's going to win that one.
I would be
agree.
with you on Cuphead. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Jane?
No, I concur. Full minority report trio. That's a prediction.
I watched Minority Report again the other day. That film's incredible.
There you go.
Incredible film. Sorry.
Slightly. It's not the BAFTA Film Awards. Just you know. Evolving game. Clash Royale, Final Fantasy 15, Fortnite, Overwatch, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
This is a weird, difficult category to predict, isn't it?
It just means like older game that's still doing stuff.
It's a tough one as well because you've got Fortnite and PUBG going head to head in this.
But it depends when the
Siege
voting
has been so well supported.
right?
Siege has been incredibly supported
That's
over
true,
the years.
actually.
So, but I think it's going to be Fortnite. It's the popular meme at the moment.
Yeah, but when did the vote happen? Because there's been a lot that's happened very recently. So if it was like within the last couple of months, yes.
I think it was before Drake. I think it's before Drake and after Drake, isn't it? That's like the Fortnite meme now.
But maybe it's Fortnite for evolving game in a year when it's evolved even further. And Siege, like you say, it's
been so well supported.
It has
Constantly.
absolutely, yeah.
So would that be your prediction then? What's going to win?
It's a tough one. I'm going to say Siege because I think it deserves it, but I'm not confident about that prediction.
Okay.
It'll probably be Overwatch and we'll all be wrong.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it'll be PUBG, just because it's set a tone for the year.
This is true, this is true. Okay, so family game. We've got Just Dance 2018, Lego Worlds, Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Monument Valley 2, Snipper Clips, and Super Mario Odyssey. So Mario & Rabbids kind of like that.
That be in that category. It's really tough and technical and like.
It's not like.
I can't imagine kids playing that game, but maybe I'm not that intelligent, and that's why.
But then Monument Valley as a family game, like, do you all get around like a single mobile phone?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's a weird one.
I really want it to be Snipper Clips because that's a beautiful game. The art by Catherine Unger is stunning, but I don't know. I think it might go to Mario
Odyssey.
and Rabbids.
I think Odyssey actually. I think
Yeah.
No, I can see that as well. One of the Marios.
Yeah.
Mario does well.
All right, well, Games Beyond Entertainment, I think we've gone way into. How about game innovation? Gorogoa, Hellblade, Legend of Zelda, Nier Automata, Snipper Clips. What remains of Edith Finch? What's the prediction?
I'd say it would have to be Hellblade, purely because of what I was saying earlier about how it pioneered live, direct rendered motion capture technology.
I think that's a safe bet. Yeah, I think it's not that those games aren't all innovative in their own way, but I think it's quite clear and distinct, like the innovation in that game. So, yeah.
I'm going to say Zelda.
Right, I think. Okay.
Zelda.
Fine, right, okay. Well, I think we're actually going to be going to the floor now. So, I mean, it's all the time we have for the build-up. And we're sure that you've heard enough of us kind of yakking away. We're going to keep carrying on anyway, but it's now time to get the proper party started. So stay tuned straight after the ceremony as we'll all be discussing and dissecting the winners. But stay tuned, and very shortly we will hand over to BAFTA's Vice President of Games, David Gardner, OBE. We'll see you very soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice President of Games,
David Gardner.
Good evening. Good evening to everyone, high and low. It's a very warm welcome to be here tonight at the Bafta Academy Games Awards. I'm David Gardner, the Vice President for Games. Bafta is well known as an organization celebrating excellence and championing creativity through occasions like this. But we also want you to know that the remit of what we do is the support of the games industry as a whole is far, far wider than most people are aware. Supporting the next generation of talent in games is at the heart of everything that we do. We provide unique access to the world's leading games practitioners through workshops, masterclasses, our annual games lecture, and our online resource, Bafta Guru. We want to dramatically expand this activity and make Bafta even more accessible to the games industry and the next generation of talent. To do this, we have launched an ambitious £25 million fundraising campaign to redevelop Bafta's headquarters and enhance our charitable learning program. One of the grassroots events is Bafta's annual Young Games Designers Initiative, which encourages children and young people to create, develop, and present their new games ideas to the world. And we have some of the winners here tonight. I don't know where you guys are. I'm looking forward to meeting you later on. Last year, from this group of young talent, we saw a noticeable trend in games with a social or educational impact. And this is also reflected tonight in the introduction of the Games Beyond Entertainment category. The introduction of this new category will capitalize on the power of games to go beyond the realms of pure entertainment and inspire games makers of the future to create games that push the boundaries of the medium and engage with the world around us. Bafta is committed to this new talent initiative because we are aware that the future of our industry depends on diverse voices and talents coming through regardless of their background. It is also our belief that everyone has a right to work in a safe, professional environment, and that bullying, harassment, and abuse have no place in our industry. That's a fantastic response because there's not an applause meter here, and I know you really meant it. This is why Bafta has worked with over 40 other organizations, including Yuki and the BFI, to support clear, consistent action to eliminate this behavior, including developing principles and guidelines that can be adopted by the industry. Bafta has also recently announced that the Immersive Entertainment Advisory Group will take over the work done by the previous VR Advisory Group, and they will explore the positive impact of this medium and advise on the best ways to support Bafta, its members, and facilitate learning experiences. You will definitely hear more about this over the year. Finally, I have just a few thank yous. This evening has been made possible by the incredible Bafta staff. Nick Button-Brown, who is chairman of the Bafta Games Committee. And of course, the very important sponsors, Activision Blizzard, Electronic Arts, PlayFusion, Sega, Tencent Games, Ubisoft, bonsoir, as well as our Academy partners and the official photo booth partner, which is the Republic of Photography. You should also know that we're partnering with the London Games Festival for the 3rd year running. The festival began last Thursday and it continues until the 15th. So please try to get out and see some of the incredible events. The festival is organized by Games London and is underpinned by significant funding from the Mayor of London. So 2 weeks ago, the Mayor confirmed that he's going to continue to sponsor the event for a further 3 years. So we're really excited about that. Thank you, London. Let's get on with the rest of the evening, which is now streaming on all the major platforms. So have a great evening, everyone.
This is the Bafta Games Awards. As we take a look back at the year in games, please welcome to the stage the BBC Young Dancer of the Year, Nafisa Baba. Welcome to the Bafta Games Awards. Please welcome your host for this evening, Dara O'Brien.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the British Academy Games Awards. It is a pleasure personally for me to be back hosting the event this evening. Before we start, a huge thanks again to Nafisa Baba for her performance. Yes, it's a pleasure for me to be back. I've done these many times, but not for a couple of years. I've been busy. I was hosting Dara Breen's Go Ape It, a television show about gaming. Look at you. You've made the mainstream. You're on Dave. Thank you all, brother, for coming out tonight. A big thank you to our games partners that helped make this evening possible. Activision, Blizzard, Electronic Arts, Sega, PlayFusion, Tencent Games, and Ubisoft. Thank you very much to all of you. And a huge welcome as well to everybody watching on the live stream. If you look around, we have leveled up to a new location this year, the beautiful Art Deco gem that is the Troxy Theatre in London's East End. I have been doing these awards for a while now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the plushest we have ever been. This is the largest, most glossy and fully interactive. Those lines behind me are a real-time representation of all the Xbox One X updates currently downloading across the UK. Sped up to hundreds of times faster than the real thing. And in an industry that is brimming with innovation and bright ideas, it's great to look around this room and see so many new faces in the audience and so many that are more retro, I feel is the term we use in this industry. Because what a year it's been. What a year it's been in gaming. Thanks to you, we've been able to visit lush jungles filled with waterfalls and dinosaurs, deserts filled with pyramids, lands of lakes, lands of trees, the one where the caps live. Literally, I am just listing levels on Super Mario Odyssey at the moment, right? Not to ruin the ending, by the way, of Super Mario Odyssey, which is one of our games nominated for the best game category. We'll be mentioning all of them as the night goes on. Not to ruin the ending of Super Mario Odyssey, but how do you start the next one without it being slightly awkward? Oh no, Mario, Peach is being kidnapped. It's kind of not a thing anymore. Anyway, it has been a great year for Nintendo. Big round of applause for Nintendo, by the way. With, another one of their exciting new technology. The Switch has been a fantastic piece of technology. 2 nominees for the best game, Super Mario, as I mentioned, and also Zelda. I'm not sure how many of you are playing Zelda. Zelda contains 172 hours of gaming on a machine that has 3 hours of charge. So... And it has been exciting. Just even if you look at that range that we have within those best game nominees, which we'll get to, there are 6 games. And now I don't work in your industry. I can't comment on how things work in the industry. I'm merely a consumer of your products. But I can tell you that's exciting in itself, though, to see the representation occurring in those games. In those top 6 games, there are 6 heroes. 3 of them are female. 2 of them are male. And Link can identify whichever way Link wants, right? That's up to Link, and that's cool, right? So... we're also touching on very, very interesting material. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Congratulations to the team behind that. Hellblade touched on issues of mental health in a very delicate way, saying that if that is the situation you have, then the best thing to do is to parry, melee attack, and then block. That joke might work better with headphones. No, genuinely the glorious vistas you've given us from this industry that we've been enjoying. The pyramids of ancient Egypt, mountain ranges filled with robot dinosaurs. You've created iconic images. And not only have you done that, you've allowed us to recreate iconic images from other medium, like whatever. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a good example of that, because not only in Star Wars Battlefront 2, of course, not only in Star Wars Battlefront 2 can you recreate moments from Star Wars, you can also recreate the ending of Raiders of the Lost Ark by having to open hundreds of boxes in the hope of finding the Holy Grail. We did toy, by the way, with the idea of doing the entire awards like that, just to see who wanted it most. Your BAFTA's hidden in a loot crate. Who's got the most pocket money to get it? But instead, we decided to choose a mechanism for deciding these awards which best represented how this year has gone. At the back of this room, we have BAFTA luminaries, we have the public, we have various people who've come along as guests. In the front of the room are the nominees. You're in this sort of descended area where it's just you in this enclosed pit. There's exactly 100 of you within this enclosed area. And over the course of the next 2 minutes, that area is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, until eventually only one of you can get a BAFTA at the end of it. How much do you want it, is the question. That's it. You're probably wondering, where did I get that mechanism? Well, it's an original thing I came up with myself. No, I got it from a game called Rules of Survival. I don't know if you've played it. Christ, I got it from FIFA Battleground. I got it from anything, right? Literally everyone is doing this. I was playing this game called Rules and honestly, you're playing and you're thinking, surely this should just freeze frame. I should pull out and there'd be like a screen with Rules of Survival on or any one of these things. And the team from Fortnite around are going, what? Come on! And then it would freeze and pull out, and then it'd just be another screen, and the team from PUBG would be around going, what? Come on! And then it would freeze and it would pull out, and Jennifer Lawrence would be there, and the people from Hunger Games, and they go, what? Come on! And then it would freeze and it would pull out, and Takeshi Kitano would just be standing there in a raincoat, just looking cool. Because I don't know the Japanese for what? Come on! Apparently, if you played PUBG long enough, there's one hidden place somewhere that if you open the box, an IP lawyer jumps out. No, we tried that mechanism. Then we thought the better one yet again is we got you all, and we'll take you all to a deserted house, and you can walk around the deserted house just taking books off shelves and reading the memories of people who've passed away. And you'll do that for about 2 hours, and then realize that the victory was the journey itself. You're very fond of that. It is exciting to see these things happen, but like, I mean, I'm a tech person, right? I'm a huge tech person. We do all these different games and all these different shows that I do, like whatever. I drew the line at Alexa, by the way. I drew the line at having Alexa now. I mean, I like the idea of Alexa. I like the idea of just the lubricant, the smooth lubrication of your life, that you'd walk through your house and you'd go with a lady on your arm. This may be very male fantasy. You'd go, Alexa, play some Prince. And then this automated home service would just play the sexy music and the mood would be set. Obviously, that's not the reality of either AI or voice recognition software. You're far more likely to go, Alexa, play some Prince. And Alexa will go, printing documents now. And then you have to make love to the incessant rhythm of the printer. And that is incredibly difficult to maintain. It really is. I'm not a young man anymore, but geez. I mean, 4 or 5 minutes tops, and I'm going praying for a paper jam. In the end, by the way, I went for one of those things you have on the phone, like whatever, you can just like, one of those things, you can just turn the lights on and off in your house. And I would take, on stage, I wanted to show people that, like, oh, look, you can just turn the lights on and off in your house. Not that there'd be in any way in music to anyone anywhere, but just the thought of me on a long comedy tour that every night, around at the same time, my wife would be sitting at home minding her own business when all the lights would suddenly go on and off in the house. Okay. But then she realized that you can put anything onto it, including the curtains in the bedroom, as I found out when I was woken up in the middle of the morning. I was in a deep sleep and suddenly it was filled with light because my wife on the train to work at 7:15 a.m. went, right, time to get up, bang, right? So this shit is escalating. I have now put onto the same app all the heating and all the air conditioning so I can randomly plunge individual rooms in the house into cold and dark and then get Spotify to stream children singing nursery rhymes from the basement. I have done this once, and I get a phone call from my wife going, you seem to have forgotten that I was actually on call tonight, but I just had a text from the babysitter, and she's shitting herself. Apologies, I've gone down a wormhole here. Here's the thing, the piece of tech that I think I'm actually genuinely sad, because I think it's been a brilliant year. I think you've done fantastic. I think it's amazing what you've done with the technology. The one that sort of, I think, is yet to really do it is VR. Right? And I still think we're still waiting for that killer thing. And it disappoints me because I think VR, and I've said this many times, VR is genuinely transformative piece of technology. It's genuinely going to be amazing. It's going to change games. It's going to like the total immersiveness of it is going to be amazing. It's going to change games. It's going to change movies, I think. It's going to completely revolutionize burglary. If you break into a house and somebody has the helmet on and the earphones in, Jesus, chill out, take your time. They're not doing anything. After an hour, they'll eventually take the thing off and go, oh, me telly is gone. How ironic. But I think one of the reasons, this is a theory I have which you would probably tell me I'm wrong about, but one of the reasons VR isn't quite doing it, and this is kind of a secret thing that happens with technology, is that nobody's watching pornography in virtual reality. Because you know the way historically pornography is supposed to be the reason that VHS beat Betamax or that certain video streaming software beat other types of streaming software, and nobody's using virtual reality for that experience, right? And you can kind of see why, because it doesn't add anything. Nobody's ever been making love and going, oh my God, darling, this is incredible. Oh, this is the most wonderful experience of my life. Oh my God, I'm almost there. Hang on, just let me have a quick look around. Geez, that's fantastic. I love what you've done with the corner thing. Is that original now, or did you get that? But the main reason nobody's doing VR for that particular purpose is because you cannot be entirely sure that she's out for the afternoon. And you have to be 100% sure. You have to be totally sure, because the stakes are really high. That she goes, oh my God, I left my credit card behind. And no, what is this that welcomes me as I return home, right? I mean, your nightmare is that you take off the mask after, the pleasure trip of the century, right? And you take off the mask, and there's 2 police officers just staring at you. Well, what have you been doing? Do you have any idea what's been going on here for the last hour? A burglar broke into your house. He was spotted. There's been a standoff. You've been a hostage for 45 minutes. We've had to shut off the road. There's been a helicopter from Sky News slowly circling overhead. Oh, your wife is outside on a megaphone going, stay strong, John, stay strong. And we've been watching on the thermal imaging, just battering away at yourself for the last hour. Definitely the classiest monologue I have ever delivered at these awards, right? The shinier this has gone, the more classy I've got. Listen, we have awards for you. We have treasures and we have rewards for what you've done, and it's going to be crazy because you have generally been the one with the huge achievements this year, like whatever. By the way, throughout the night, why not get involved yourself if you're watching the stream and share your opinions along with us as it goes along, whether your favourites won or not. Your favourites that won, didn't win, tag us at Bafta Games or hashtag Bafta Games. But let us get started. Shall we get started, ladies and gentlemen? Let's, yeah, absolutely. The first award of the night is for original property. New ideas are the definition of progress, and while sequels might have an association with reliable success, eventually a series either gets stagnant or becomes a sexy volleyball game. Here, too niche as a joke. Here to present the award are two exceptional talents from the just-released movie Rampage, based on the 1980s arcade game, which was itself based on the 1930s monster movies. Please welcome actor Malin Ackerman and director Brad Payton.
Thank you, Dara. Good evening, and may I say it's such a pleasure to be here in London at the Bafta Game Awards.
As Dara mentioned, our new movie Rampage is based on the game of the 80s.
Yes,
right?
And we're here to present the Bafta for original property. Seriously? Original property, okay.
Yeah, I just love the British sense of irony, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Love it, Mullen.
I see you're also a fan of British sarcasm.
Yes, I'm a big fan of British sarcasm. Regardless of my sense of humor, here are the nominees for original property.
Original property. Cuphead. Gorogoa. Horizon Zero Dawn. Night in the Woods. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. What Remains of Edith Finch. Original property.
All right, and the BAFTA for original property is awarded to Horizon Zero Dawn.
Thank you, everybody. This is Guerrilla Games' first BAFTA, and this one is to everybody. Everybody back in Amsterdam, I know you're watching Team Guerrilla. I'm super proud of our 230 people that so fearlessly pursued this creative pivot. It couldn't be more different than anything we had done before. So to pull this off and get a BAFTA in this category is amazing. Matthijs de Jonge, game director, John Gonzalez, narrative director, and the high concept, actually this person next to me, JB van Beek, came up with it. So big round of applause for this man. Please.
Thank you very much. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity when you get up to imagine a whole new universe. So it's been very, very rewarding to stand here and actually get a BAFTA for it.
Wow. Once a decade, JB, once a decade.
Once a decade.
Thank you so much.
Yes, our first winner's there, and he totally forgot his friend's name midway through that. And then gave his job title, bought about a time, and then went, JB, which may or may not be correct. Okay. While the game's visuals are often celebrated, let's not forget one of the most important factors in video games, which is, of course, in-app purchases. No, wait, no, wrong. That's it. To present the BAFTA for music, we have two fantastic British artists and performers. One is an NME award-winning musician. The other a seasoned presenter and comedian, currently hosting a television show where comedians sit on a couch and play video games. Where does they get their ideas? Okay. Welcome to the stage, Professor Green and Rob Beckett. Hey, how are you, man?
Good evening. An appropriate soundtrack can express more emotional information about a game than dialogue and visuals put together.
It can often be just as a defining feature of a game series as a player character. It's a sign that the gaming art form can match the poetic degree of any other art category, whether it's the epic score from The Legend of Zelda or the instantly recognisable Green Hill Zone from Sonic.
Yeah, but my favourite computer game song, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Remember that? Absolute fucking joke, that, wasn't it? Snake Eater!
Don't ever do that again.
Fair enough.
Sweet. Here are the music nominees.
Music. Cuphead.
The wheels are in motion.
Get even.
So I need to know, are you with him? Or are you with me?
Hellblade. Senua's Sacrifice. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing.
The Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild. What Remains of Edith Finch. Music.
And the BAFTA goes to...
Who's going to get this lovely award?
Cuphead!
Oh, this is heavy. Well, thank you so much. The team at Studio MDHR couldn't be here today. They're working on some new and exciting projects, so I'm here to fill in. I'm Alexi. Chris, actually, the composer, wrote a few words, and so if you don't mind, I will just read that out. Chris would like to thank Chad, Jared, and everyone at Studio MDHR, Jeremy Darby, John Haberman, Julian DeCourt, Adam King, and his family, and Caroline. So thank you so much for the recognition, and thank you, the Academy, for this award. Thank you.
It's a very beautiful game, but frankly, when he won, we should have taken the stairs away and made it frustratingly difficult for him to travel. A game's ability to captivate and engage its audience is a key differentiator from other media. The Game Design Award recognizes and honors those games that build spellbinding experiences for its players, from awe-inspiring realistic environments like Assassin's Creed Origins to whatever the hell Luncheon Kingdom is in Mario Odyssey. To present the BAFTA Game Design, we have probably the most recognizable online handle in the world at the moment. He's known as Player Unknown, but the secret is out. Please welcome Brendan Green.
Good evening. Sometimes a vision can become a beacon of influence across art forms. And games offer a unique experience that can both stimulate the senses and intellectually challenge at the same time. And sometimes, just sometimes, you can crouch down over the face of a defeated enemy in order to simulate teabag. Sorry, right. And the nominations for game design are...
Game Design. Assassin's Creed Origins. Horizon Zero Dawn. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Nier Automata. Super Mario Odyssey. What Remains of Edith Finch. Game design.
And the BAFTA goes to Super Mario Odyssey.
Thank you, Bafta. スーパーマリオオデッセイの開発チームに代わりまして、この賞もお受けいたします。
On behalf of the development team who worked on the Super Mario Odyssey, I'd like to accept this award.
マリオオデッセイには原点である箱庭をテーマにキャプチャーなど新しくユニークな体験を積み込みました。
So the team focused on the original Super Mario series theme, which is the Hakoniwa. And we put on many unique features, such as throwing his hat, which is a cappy.
新しいマリオを多くの皆さんに楽しんでいただけてとても嬉しく思っています。
And we were very pleased to see so many players in the world enjoyed our game.
Thank you very much.
An utterly delightful game, but a slight etiquette issue if they win any other awards. Do I shake hands and congratulate the translator next time? That is... I'll give it, I probably will. Throughout the evening, we'll be taking a closer look at 6 games. The 6 games that are nominated for the coveted Bafta Best Game Awards. It's time for the first of those. Let us go to ancient Egypt. It's Assassin's Creed Origins.
Best Game Nominees.
So I'm Ashraf Ismail, and I'm the game director for Assassin's Creed Origins. So Assassin's Creed Origins is the reinvention of the Assassin's Creed experience. Our mandate was really to bring AC to something that's fresh and new, modern. To do that, we set it in Egypt. So how do you bring Ptolemaic Egypt to life? All within the context of telling about the Brotherhood. How did this, storied group of people come to be and their history?
Our Brotherhood is the only hope.
We were coming up to the 10-year anniversary, and we wanted to make a splash and to bring something fresh and unique to this, magnificent open-world historic opus. Working on the game was a real adventure. It was a real challenge. It was a 4-year experience. And our mandate was to reinvent Assassin's Creed, and that's a very tall order. You have such a massive fan base, a lot of expectations, externally, internally, so there is a lot of pressure there, but at the same time, this is what makes what we do fun, that we challenge ourselves and we allow ourselves to come up hopefully with creative solutions, things that will excite people, things that will go towards the expectations people have, but shock them and surprise them. For me, it was an honor and a pleasure to be able to make a game set in Egypt, to try to bring this culture to life, this land to life that is now lost into the history, and to do it with a sense of respect, a sense of majesty to what it was. Of course, me personally, having a Middle Eastern background, it was a pleasure to be able to do that.
Best Game Nominee.
Now we have the award for Evolving Game. The Evolving Game Award is for those games that keep on improving over time, adding consistent new content for their dedicated players. It's the award also known as the Here's a New Gun / Throw-In Animation Award. Here to present the award are two actors who've lent their voices and faces to a nominated game tonight. It's my pleasure to introduce Abu Bakr Salim and Alex Wilton Regan.
Good evening. We're here to tell you the nominees and winner of Best Evolving Game.
But before we do that, as actors who have worked in film, television, on stage and in games, there is something else that we would like to share with you.
5 women and a big black guy.
Bayek, watch your tongue. No, sorry, this is definitely not the start of some crude sex joke. 5 women and this beautiful man here are the 6 artists nominated for the Bafta Best Performer Award tonight.
We're extremely proud to be part of the game industry, an industry that is clearly leading the way for new cultural and social norms, and evolving in ways that the rest of the entertainment industry is finally catching up to.
Hear, hear. It is down to your open inclusion of all people that makes games an incredible world in which to work, and long may you all continue. I also want to say a huge congratulations to Bafta for championing this diversity with its groundbreaking list of performer nominees tonight.
It's not that she's biased.
You should be so lucky, my love.
And now here are the nominees for the Evolving Game.
Evolving Game. Clash Royale. Final Fantasy 15. Fortnite. Overwatch. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Evolving Game.
And the BAFTA for Evolving Game goes to Overwatch!
Wow. Sorry. Okay. We're in shock, honestly. On behalf of everybody from the Overwatch development team, thank you so much for this. Our incredible community of players are the reason that we evolved the game in the way what we do. We're so thrilled to get this. Thank you to the British Academy. Thanks to our players. On behalf of everybody at Blizzard Entertainment, thank you so much. We're really, truly grateful. Thank you so much.
Games continue to push the boundaries of the narrative art. Here to present the award, we have one of the best British authors and screenwriters working today. She's written the incredible Kingsman movies, Kick-Ass, as well as 2 X-Men movies, and the good ones. Please welcome the extremely talented Jane Goldman.
The narrative in games can make a collection of pixels and polygons engage with us, teach us, and even offer us a new perspective. Video games have so many excellent examples of storytelling, but these games this year surpassed even the highest expectations. The nominees for narrative are...
Narrative. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Horizon Zero Dawn. Night in the Woods. Tacoma. What Remains of Edith Finch. Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
And the Bafta for narrative goes to Night in the Woods.
I have to go first. Sorry, hang on. I gotta switch apps. Okay, I'm good. Hi, I'm Adam Saltzman. I'm one half of Finji. And I wanted to say thank you to Scott, Bethany, Em, Rebecca, the rest of the Night in the Woods team that couldn't be here tonight. We're so honored that we got to help out with your beautiful game. Thank you to Tony Barton and the rest of the team at 22nd Century who produced our console ports. Thank you to Nick Sutner, Lisa Faber, and Matt Milberger for making our PS4 launch possible. To the rest of the folks working so hard behind the scenes at Microsoft and Nintendo. And thank you so much to my family for helping us during the last 2 years, and to my kids for just barely tolerating our weird schedule.
So hi, I'm Alec. I'm the co-creator, one of the co-creators, and I did the music and the programming for the game, but fortunately Scott and Bethany, who wrote the story, can't be here, so I'm going to read something from Scott Benson. And it's kind of weird to read this while wearing a tux at a fancy awards show, so just bear that in mind. I apologize. This goes out to all the people who don't get the chance to tell their stories. The burnouts, the folks fighting their internal demons, the underpaid, the overworked, the left behind, the struggling, the people whose stories don't get a chance to be praised at fancy award shows. These are the real histories of our time, and you are our best historians. This award is for you. Tell your stories until the rest of the world listens. Thanks so much.
But in the meantime, let's put on some tuxedos. Okay. Yes, now it's time to take a closer look at another of the nominees for Game of the Year. This time, we'll be taking a look at the indie title that could, who competed in the AAA market and beat the odds to succeed. Let's take a look at Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Best Game nominee.
I like fantasy, and I wanted to make an original fantasy, and I was searching for ideas. And I thought, well, fantasy all comes from the mind, so why not go to the source? In extreme cases like of psychosis, you get to see what the mind is truly capable of creating. And reading about it, researching it, it struck me that with video games we had a tool, a method for someone to at least get a taste of the lived experience of psychosis. And that became a very powerful idea.
It only takes an instant. Fear swallows you before you have a chance to make sense of it. And darkness becomes a part of who you are.
Making Hellblade was a terrifying experience because how do you marry and do justice to such a heavy subject in an entertainment medium which is supposed to be all about fun? And we chose our route, which was to try and portray the experience as honestly as we possibly could. And to do this, we brought on clinicians, psychiatrists, people from the scientific community, alongside many people from that have had direct lived experience of psychosis, and we worked together for the course of 3 years as true collaborators. And I think together we've created something that is shareable and understandable to a great many people, and I think it can give insights into the condition that you couldn't get from just reading about it or just talking to someone about their experience. To make this game happen, we had to cheat, borrow and steal. Okay, maybe not steal, but we had to do the best we could with what resources we had. We built our own mocap studio in one of our meeting rooms. We recorded everything in-house. We used live action video because we couldn't afford to make multiple characters on our budget. Melina, our video editor, actually doubled up as Senua, and she did an absolutely bang-up, fantastic job. I'm so proud that we've actually come through to the other side intact with a great game. It shows that independent developers like us can survive in this market, and we can offer new experiences, and that to me is the best reward, you know, we could have hoped for in making this game.
Best game nominee.
And if we learn nothing else from that VT, we learned that there's loads more of that game that I haven't got to, and I'm totally not finishing it without a save point. So, next up, we have a brand new category for Bafta, the Game Beyond Entertainment Award. But rather than tell you about it myself, I'm going to let our presenter do the job for me. He's a respected musician, writer, activist and educator, an artist who's definitely taken his own talent beyond entertainment. Please welcome Akala.
How you guys doing? You all right? That was really rubbish. Really rubbish. How you guys doing? You all right? There we go. So, every art form has the power to become bigger than itself, to have greater meaning than the content contained within. And video games, hopefully, are no exception. BAFTAs are making a point of championing those artists that highlight social controversy and bring impact issues into public focus. Now we continue that tradition by extending it to gaming. The nominees in this category have put a spotlight on psychosis, teen anxiety, the experience of death and loss, dissociative disorders, the plight of war and those fleeing conflict, and furthered dementia research. It's incredibly encouraging to see the games industry take responsibility for its power and influence, and we're excited to see where all of you take this next. The nominees for the first ever Games Beyond Entertainment Award are
Game Beyond Entertainment. Bury Me, My Love. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Last Day of June. Life is Strange, Before the Storm. Night in the Woods. Sea Hero Quest VR. Game Beyond Entertainment.
And the BAFTA for Game Beyond Entertainment goes to Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
Where's the Bafta? Oh, you got it. All right. Just checking. This is truly a dream come true for me. Our first Bafta. But I don't want to talk at this stage. What I want to do is to highlight our collaborators. Paul Fletcher, Professor of Neuroscience and Psychiatrist at Cambridge University, who worked with us as our guide for 3 years. Tracy Bartlett from Recovery College East, whose students lent us their lived experience over the 3 years. Ian Dodgen from Wellcome, who opened doors and helped us right from the beginning of the project. And it's a true collaboration between science, art, and lived experience. But I would dearly like to invite Paul first and Tracy to share a few words.
Thank you very much indeed. Mental anguish, mental suffering is characterized by the fact that it's usually invisible, it's usually silent. Working with the incredibly talented Ninja Theory, with the Cambridge Peterborough Foundation Trust and with the Wellcome Trust, has actually, I think, shown me something very powerful, which is that games can aspire to and achieve a remarkable exploration of the state of the mind and the state of mental suffering. It's been a real pleasure and a real honor to be part of this.
I would like to really thank Ninja Theory for their total immersion in their collaboration with people with lived experience of psychosis. Quite often we find ourselves trying to explain our experiences, and sometimes people find it hard to understand, and I am inspired on a daily basis by all of the students that come through and come into the Recovery College for their courage around how they put one foot in front of another every single day. They are a massive inspiration. And Tam and Dom and everyone at Ninja Theory have just completely done something which has inspired me so much to believe that any medium of entertainment can actually break down stigma and discrimination around mental health. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to the others from the Recovery College. There was lots of people involved, but specifically Jen, Michael and Kathy, who were very inspirational during this whole process. Thank you very much.
This year, the debut of Switch stole a lot of the attention as a brand new games console. But let's not forget the Xbox One X, which boasts the closest any games console has come to being a palindrome. But when it comes to debuts, it's the games that really deliver the experience. Here to present the award for debut game is a talented artist who made her own game debut this year as the actress behind Senua in Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. She was mentioned there only a moment ago. Please welcome Melina Jurgens.
Thank you, Dara. My video game debut on Hellblade was a great honor and a fantastic opportunity that I put lots of sweat and tears into. Having your work released for the very first time is very exciting. So to all the nominees, I really know how you feel. Except for Slime Rancher, guys. Like, what's going on in your heads? But I like it. So the nominees for debut game are
Debut game. Cuphead. Gorogoa. Hollow Knight. Night in the Woods. The Sexy Brutal. Slime Rancher. Debut game.
And the Bafta for debut game goes to Gora Goa.
Wow, this is unreal. I appreciate all the effort that's gone into making this feel like a dreamlike experience. I first of all need to thank my sound designer, Eduardo Ortiz-Frau, and my composer, Joel Korlitz, who, by rights, I wish they could be up here with me. They contributed hugely to the game. Thanks to everyone at Wholesale Algorithms, and especially the whole family at Annapurna Interactive, without whom this would not have been possible. And thanks to the Academy.
I was tempted to look at him and go, more. Time once more to look at the nomination for Best Game. This time we'll be looking at a series of unconnected words that actually, it turns out, if you put them together, make a title. Let's have a look at, because it's never been explained to me, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Best Game nominees.
Hi, my name is Matthijs de Jonge. I'm the game director on Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn is an open-world action RPG set 1,000 years into the future. Nature has reclaimed the lands and mankind is no longer the dominant species. Large, majestic machines now roam these lands. You play as Aloy, a young tribal machine hunter, on a quest to discover her origin amongst the remnants of the ancient past.
I was born to lift a curse, to kill a metal demon.
As Aloy, you journey through a world filled with strange artifacts and crumbling ruins to unlock its deepest mysteries. How did the machines come to dominate this world? And what happened to civilization that came before? The answers may determine Aloy's fate, and that of humanity itself as well. For Horizon Zero Dawn, we wanted to create a world that is lush, majestic, and very beautiful. We were inspired by nature at its best, as we've seen it in the BBC documentary Planet Earth. Horizon Zero Dawn was a big leap for us as a studio. During development, we saw that the game was coming together, and internally the excitement was rising. But when we first showed Horizon Zero Dawn at E3 2015, we really felt that we were on the right track. As a studio known for its first-person shooter franchise, there were a lot of challenges for all our disciplines that we faced, as we were creating an action RPG set in an open world. But this was also a great opportunity to hone our skills as game developers. What makes Horizon Zero Dawn an incredible experience to me is really the sum of its parts. The music, the majestic scenery, the dangerous machines, and the story of Aloy that takes you on this epic adventure.
Best Game nominees.
Our next category is family games, which I regard as the most scary of all games. It seems unusual but I can never be sure that my 10-year-old daughter hasn't accidentally uploaded my Just Dance videos. That's a genuine fear, by the way. So, to present the award for family game, we have the host of one of the top YouTube gaming channels in the UK. He's over 18.5 million YouTube subscribers. Meanwhile, they won't even give me a blue tick on Twitter. Please welcome Dantdm.
Hello. Games are the best when they bring families together, like in Mario Kart, when your wife sends a nasty blue shell your way after you've been first the whole race, sending you spiraling into the last spot as she takes the top spot. Good times. Real good times. The nominees for family game are...
Family. Just Dance 2018. Lego Worlds. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Monument Valley 2. Snipper Clips. Super Mario Odyssey. Family.
And the BAFTA for Family Game goes to Super Mario Odyssey.
Thank you again. Thank you, Bafta. 日本にいるスーパーマリオオデッセイ開発チーム全体に代わりお礼を申し上げます。
On behalf of the entire Super Mario Odyssey team who are in Japan right now, I'd like to accept this award.
スーパーマリオオデッセイでは2人プレイを導入して1人がマリオ、もう1人がキャッピーを操作します。
With this game, we added the two-player mode where one player controls Mario and the other controls Cappy.
2つのジョイコンを2人で使うことで親子や友達同士など一緒にプレイすることができます。
By utilizing two Joy-Con controllers, parents, children, and their friends can play together.
このソフトをファミリーで遊んでいただけて我々はすごく嬉しく思っています。
And we are very happy that so many families enjoy this game.
Thank you very much.
The mobile gaming industry in the UK has been instrumental in maintaining the nation's status as one of the top countries for video game development in the continent. And soon, you'll be the top everything in the continent because you'll be your own continent. So there, take that, Europe. I mean, we'll keep all the jelly deals and Cornish pasties and you'll come crawling back. To present the award for a mobile game, we have another British YouTube sensation, as well as a writer, presenter and producer for Eurogamer. Please welcome Mess Yourself and Aoife Wilson. Hello, Mess Yourself?
The mobile gaming industry is absolutely enormous here in the UK, and with smartphones becoming more and more powerful, it's hard to see the industry going anywhere but up.
That's right. Did you know that approximately half of all smartphone owners use their device to play games? To put that into context, that's about 300 times the amount of people who know that the Wii U is discontinued.
Wait, I still play my Wii U.
Did you know it's been discontinued?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Wait, but what's going to happen to my cute little me characters?
And the nominees for Best Mobile Game are...
Mobile Game. Bury Me, My Love. Golf Clash. Gorogoa. Cammy 2. Monument Valley 2. Stranger Things, the game. Mobile game.
And the Bafta for mobile game goes to Golf Clash.
Wow. I think we totally convinced ourselves we wouldn't win this, and I think that is credit to the other games that were in our category. Incredible games. I'm Alex. I'm the creative director of Playdemic. Paul would normally be here to collect this award tonight. He can't make it, but I know he's watching, so Guji, we did it. We just want to say a few thank yous. So first, thanks to Bafta for recognizing us for this award. These guys behind me, they did it, and they deserve it. Thanks also to our families, our wives and our partners for putting up with our crap over the past 10 years as we built this studio. It's been a tough ride, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, much like Golf Clash. Thanks to the platform holders, our really good friends there. You guys are out there now, you know who you are. You supported Golf Clash when it was little more than a prototype, many, many months before it was launched. You backed us all the way, and we really appreciate that. And finally, I want to just say thank you to the most important people tonight, who's the amazing gamers and players who support us over the past 12 months. Nearly 4 billion games of Golf Clash have been played in the past 12 months, and almost 1 billion of those have resulted in someone smashing their phone on the pavement as they miss a putt. So thanks to our players. We've got loads of stuff coming in 2018, so thank you.
Wow, I think the last thing to say is we've got some of the guys from the dev team here, but there's a whole load of guys back in Manchester, some of the most talented people we've worked with in the industry. This is for you guys. Thank you.
Okay, let's take a look at another nominee for Best Game. It's one of the longest-running game franchises in both real-time and its own convoluted fictional timeline. Let's have a look at The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Best Game nominee.
ゼルダの当たり前を見直すというテーマのもと、シームレスな広大な世界を舞台にどこに行って何をするのも自由というゼルダのゲームに求められている探索と発見の楽しさをスタッフ一丸となって引き出しました。行き手を阻む敵やそびえ立つ山々などゲームを進める上では障害となることもたくさんありますが、そこにある自然との関わりや自分のできることの中に必ず突破口はあって、それはゲームを遊ぶ皆さんの自由な発想で作り出すことができます。プレイヤーの自由な発想が無限な遊びを生み出す世界、それが我々が達成したかったオープンエアの世界です。
Best Game nominee.
Our next award is Artistic Achievement, and is dedicated to those that make the most of their resources to turn a powerful vision into reality. For some in this room, that meant riding a moose into battle as a lingerie-wearing humanoid robot lady. For others, it meant stabbing a giant magical cloud monster after frying some bananas. What's important is that these are experiences that help us in the real world. Here to present the award for Artistic Achievement is a woman with an exceptional CV. She's the CEO of UK Interactive Entertainment, was previously the commissioning editor of Channel 4, and is on a host of well-respected advisory groups and boards. They could please welcome Dr. Joe Twist Obiye.
The Artistic Achievement Award celebrates those who take bold and risky steps in the pursuit of creative excellence in the industry. Thanks to developers and artists taking these steps, we've had incredible game experiences, like previous winners Okami and Inside. This year has not disappointed, and with the industry displaying some astounding creative direction. So the nominees for Artistic Achievement are
Artistic achievement. Cuphead. Gorogoa. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Horizon Zero Dawn. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Uncharted, The Lost Legacy. Artistic achievement.
And the BAFTA for Artistic Achievement goes to Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
This is a massive, massive shock. So much so I haven't written a speech, neither of us have. Totally humbled by this. And on behalf of the rest of the art team, thank you so much. Thank you, BAFTA. Thank you, everyone.
I think I'd just like to say, I think like everyone in this category deserves this award. There's been some amazing work this year in the industry, and it's unbelievable that we've even been nominated for this. So thank you everyone.
I'll just point out that Dan here almost created all of the environment art on his own. Jeff here created pretty much all of the characters on his own, and Mark did all of the visual effects and on his own. And I'm so proud of you guys. What you've done is amazing and inspiration. Thank you.
It is one of the great privileges of these awards to see a project like that receive more than one award and know that the team put all of their focus and their effort into the first speech and really kind of left going, who have we got left to thank? And they've got more candidates to come, who knows? Watch that evolve. Okay, so our next category is multiplayer, where 46-year-old men go to die. Our next host is an incredible comedian, actor, and author. Please welcome Russell Kane.
Evening. I'm buzzing to be presenting the Multiplayer Award. I don't know how many people are multiplayers in here. I was a multiplayer when multiplayer was analog. I was a Dungeons & Dragons player originally. If I could have known this stuff was coming, I think I would have had a nerdgasm that destroyed me when I was 12. We then, before multiplayer, we used to just gather around whatever game we had of Monkey Island, King's Quest, Let Us Shoot Larry. If you played it, you know. So to know the stuff that was coming, I mean, I don't know if anyone's aware, but multiplayer sometimes, I know what you're saying, but sometimes when you're linking with other blokes, let's face it, around the world, there is a connective, empowering thing as well. It's very much, I can remember being at school. No one gave a toss about me at school. I couldn't get a girlfriend, and I'd be repping it on some Dungeons & Dragons Final Fantasy game. And I'd be getting rejected for the third time. But in my head, I'd always be thinking, I'm a 17th level wizard. And I could destroy you with a fireball, you bitch, so back off. Now I can connect with other men that feel the same. The nominees for BAFTA Multiplayer are, roll it!
Multiplayer. Divinity, Original Sin 2. Fortnite. Gang Beasts. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Splatoon 2. Star Trek Bridge Crew. Multiplayer.
Okay, the winner for multiplayer. I am buzzing like a housewife's toy drawer to announce this. The winner is Divinity Original Sin 2.
Wow. What an honor with so many impressive contenders in the category. Thank you so much. This award is the result of the vision of Sven Vinke, our creative director and founder, to the amazing team that we have at Larian, and of course to all the really amazing fans. Thank you so much.
First of all, I would like to apologize for not reading the dress code any closer, so more time, sorry. I'm sure that everyone at Larian is very impressed that we win the multiplayer category. It's kind of a unique experience. It's something where 2, 3, or only 4 players come together. They start out as friends, but they very much definitely end up as enemies. It's a very unique experience. Thank you very much.
Now it's time for the next nominee for Best Game, a game where you can take over other characters by throwing your hat at them, leaving them conscious but with no control over their own bodies, doomed to exist in a sunken place, unwilling witnesses to their own terrible act. Oh my God, Mario is the White family in Get Out. The next... I genuinely think that's a really good comparison. Not even mine. So, the next nominee for Best Game is Super Mario Odyssey.
Best Game nominee.
そうですね、スーパーマリオオデッセイはこれまでのシリーズの要素やマリオらしさに加えてもっと新鮮な驚きをテーマにしてきたんですけども、でも本当にマリオと全然関係ないゲームの要素を模索していた時期があって、これがすごく楽しかったですね。例えば宇宙人になって UFO でコミカルに人間をさらうゲームを作ったりとか、羊を後ろから追いかけて集めるゲームを作ったりとか、これオデッセイにも組み込まれました。であとリアルな恐竜に食われないようにカメラでエクセレントな写真を撮る、そういったゲームなんかも作りました。そこからマリオにまとめ上げるまで本当苦労するんですけども、マリオというルールの外でゲームを考えてそれをマリオにするのはすごくチャレンジャブルで楽しい体験だったと思います。そうした中から T-Rex やキャッピーが残っていったんです。
Best Game nominee.
Next award is Audio Achievement, a criminally underappreciated art form, whether it's footsteps on gravel, horses' hooves with coconut shells, or the sound a mechanical dinosaur makes when it's hit with a flaming arrow. Audio mixing brings life and immersion to visuals. Here to present the awards is the founder of Fulbright, the company behind the Bafta award-winning Gone Home, and tonight's nominated game Tacoma. Please welcome Steve Gaynor.
Anyone who loves games develops an appreciation for great sound design. But those of us who make games, we have a special relationship with the sound in the games we work on. Because we know what these experiences are like before the sound goes in. They're empty, sterile, and then there's that one magical day during development when the snow level is transformed by whistling Arctic gusts across the tundra, or an empty house becomes your refuge against a raging storm outside. The following games use the power of great audio to bring experiences to life. The nominees for audio achievement are
Audio Achievement. Call of Duty, World War II.
Won't be easy.
Destiny 2. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
But her will change the day the North Wind took her from her.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Uncharted, The Lost Legacy. Audio Achievement.
And the Bafta for audio achievement goes to Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
Thank you. I want to thank first all the team at Ninja Theory there. They are incredible. I feel like home there. I want to thank Tamim, our creative director, for being brave, for pursuing a vision, a complicated thing to do actually, very complicated. And you are all my heroes. And I want to thank my son, my 2 daughters, and my wife. Thank you. Thank you, Bafta.
There have been incredible innovations in gaming the last year, although a harder innovation that caught my eye was the SNES Mini, which came out this year. The success of the SNES Mini shows that blocky, misshapen and retro entertainment is going to be big in 2018. It's looking up for Dara. What? I didn't write that. Put that in the article. Here to present the award is the managing director of Guerrilla Games, the developers behind the Killzone series and Horizon Zero Dawn, Herman Hulst.
Thank you, Dara. Innovation in video games can stem from many different areas, from how we interact with the game to how the experience reshapes our perspective. The following games took bold steps in new directions to become excellent examples of innovative gaming. Now, they will serve as inspiration to future developers. Here are the nominees for game innovation.
Game Innovation. Gorogoa. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Nier Automata. Snipper Clips. What Remains of Edith Finch. Game Innovation.
So the Bafta for game innovation goes to The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you again. 日本にいるゼルダの開発チーム全体に代わりお礼を申し上げます。
I'd like to accept this award on behalf of the Zelda's development team in Japan.
ゼルダの当たり前を見直すというテーマに開発チームは取り組みました。
The team's mission with this game this time was to challenge the series conventions.
そしてこれまでのゼルダから何を残して何を変えるかを十分検討して本作を作り上げました。
So they spent so much time in discussing what to change and what to keep.
この新しい挑戦を皆さんに楽しんでいただき、とても嬉しく思います。
And we're very pleased to know that everyone enjoyed this game.
Thank you very much.
If they win another award, the speech will be a man in Japanese saying, I got nothing, you improvise. For the last time tonight, we take a look at one of the nominees for Best Game. The story of this game focused on the Finches, known as the unluckiest family in America, although in the current climate, that could be any family in America. Let's take a look at what remains of Edith Finch.
Best Game nominee.
Hi, I'm Ian Dallas. I was the creative director on What Remains of Edith Finch. What Remains of Edith Finch is a collection of short stories about a cursed family in Washington state. You play as Edith Finch coming back to the house she grew up in, trying to figure out why she is the last of her family left alive.
Now that there's only one of us left, I thought it was time I heard the stories.
The game is a collection of a lot of different themes, mostly the sense of the sublime, what it feels like to be surrounded by a world, by nature that is simultaneously beautiful but also a bit overwhelming. There's also elements of family and memory and what it feels like to be a child. So we would make these little prototypes, and when we found one that effectively evoked this little kernel of a feeling, then we would write a story actually after the fact to describe the experience that we found in playtesting. We had a lot of fun working on the game as a collective group, because I think there's so much that goes into a game like this, particularly in spaces like the Finch House, that no one person is really in control of or aware of everything that goes into it. And so often we would play the day's build and see something completely new that hopefully was totally appropriate, but that was really surprising. And initially this game started off as being inspired by my childhood, but as we went further along in development, it was great to see that so much of the game, particularly the house, became an expression of each person's childhood and what they brought to it.
Best Game nominees.
The next award is for Best British Game. Thankfully, British game development is still going as strong as ever. This award is a salute to the local game development companies, you guys keeping the UK on the map, even as dozens of EU nations erase it from the map. It's my pleasure to introduce a man that fully encompasses the British man. He's funny, he's a sharp dresser, and he's a last name that makes everyone's right-wing grandfather thoroughly furious. Mr. Paul Chowdhury.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight. It's a big year for Britain, with a royal couple's upcoming wedding, another expecting a baby. In fact, you can never say it's a better time to be British, just as long as you don't read a newspaper, intend to buy a house, work at Toys R Us, or if you're a part of a TV presenter double act. And I'm talking about Dec, who couldn't make it tonight. I'm not sure why, because they do send a car for you, so I'm not sure why he couldn't make it. Too soon? All right, let's... Oh, also, don't speak to a Russian diplomat. So let's start the show tonight. All right. Thankfully, British game development is going as strong as ever, and the nominees for the Best British Game are...
British Game. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Monument Valley 2. Reigns: Her Majesty. The Sexy Brutale. Sniper Elite 4. Total War: Warhammer 2.
All right.
British Game.
Great. Just to make a correction, it was Ant driving, not Det. Sorry about that, mate. So the winner for British Game is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Give us a moment, there's a few of us. Thank you so much to everyone that supported us on this game. This is an incredibly proud moment for us at Ninja Theory, for the entire team. To win British Game with so many great British developers is an incredible achievement, and I want to take a moment to thank everyone's family and friends that have supported us through this project. We spent 3 hard years trying to do something different, something creative, and trying to bring very high production values and mixing that with creative and independent freedom, and it's paying off. And I'd also like to say thank you to all of the people that help us to make games, all of the HR teams, the QA teams, all of the admin teams, the receptionists, the cleaners, everyone that supports us in making these video games. Thank you.
We can wait. The next award is for Best Performer category, and a job that has moved on so far from its early days. What is my motivation here? You've just run into a wall. Here to present the Bafta is a man who starred in far too many incredible movies to count. Most recently, he's appeared in Spielberg's Ready Player One. You may remember from Guardians of the Galaxy or Assassin's Creed or Game of Thrones. It doesn't matter what he does, a small part of him will always be Finchy to me. Please welcome Ralph Ineson. Ladies and gentlemen, I correct myself. Please welcome Ralph Ineson.
Thank you very much. And Dara is a very, very gracious man for doing that. Thank you. This year in gaming has included some incredible on-screen talent, many of whom we have here tonight. Our next award is to honour those talents who excelled, whose ability to get into a person's head and heart breathe life into what become some of our favourite characters. So, let's have a look at the nominees.
Performer:
Poets of the King.
Abu Bakr Salim as Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins.
I am not a father anymore. I am not a husband. I am not a Magi. I am a heathen one.
The goddess spoke to you?
Ashley Birch as Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Father, I was born to lift a curse, to kill a metal demon.
Claudia Black as Chloe Fraser in Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
Damn, see? Something big, all right. Why did that stupid bastard tell me?
Laura Bailey as Nadine Ross in Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
Sam went ahead to do recon for me on the disc, but then he went missing and I couldn't leave
You
him
knew my
for
history
dead.
with Sam and then you dragged me into the Sunday.
Your history with the Sav made you the obvious...
Melina Juergens as Senua in Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
I can still feel it.
Whatever's left of him, they will never let him go.
I'm not gonna let him rot here.
You're the one rotting here.
Leave me alone.
You will die here.
No.
And all your suffering will have been for nothing.
I'm sure my mom was just trying to protect me.
Valerie Rose Lohman as Edith Finch in What Remains of Edith Finch.
Now that there's only one of us left, I thought it was time I heard the stories. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem.
Performer.
And the winner is Melina Juergens in Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Wow, I can't believe I'm actually holding a Bafta in my hand right now. Wow. Yeah, this wasn't just a game. This project has been life-changing, and transitioning from being Ninja Theory's video editor to becoming an actress was just incredible, and I want to thank you guys so much. I'm so happy you're all here tonight, and I'm not alone here. Yeah, thank you to Meme as well for being so patient with me throughout the project. And of course, Professor Paul Fletcher and Tracy from Recovery College East, thanks for your support, and Ian from Wellcome Trust. And yeah, just thanks so much for being so supportive. Thanks to my fiance as well, and to my family who are watching this live right now. And of course, thank you to our fans who have been with us from the beginning. You are all just amazing, and I'm so proud to be representing the mental health community. Thank you.
Yes, you truly are all here tonight, as we realised during the last award. Now it's time to present the big one, the Bafta for Best Game 2018. To present the award, we have a distinguished British presenter, famous for the Jonathan Ross Show, and also the voice of the ugly stepsister in Shrek 2 bracket UK localisation version only, close bracket. I'm a huge fan, I'm sure you are as well. Please welcome the one and only Jonathan Ross, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. First of all, before I go on, this means this is the last big award of the evening here, which means you can finally get out of those uncomfortable chairs and hit the bar. But to receive a Bafta is a huge honour, and I wonder if we could take a moment once again to thank Bafta for being behind the gaming industry as wholeheartedly as they have for so many years, back before it was seen as the powerhouse of entertainment that we all recognise it is today. And can I beg your indulgence for a second more, because I've hosted a lot of award shows, but no one does this particular award show, and no one could do it better than Mr. Dara O'Brien, ladies and gentlemen, who is amazing. And now we know he masturbates while using his VR goggles. But to receive a Bafta is a big deal. You've got Baftas, haven't you, Dara?
No.
Oh, that's awkward. I have a lot of Baftas. I've got a lot of Baftas. I don't know, I can't, too many for one shelf. Anyway, to receive a Bafta, as Dara would one day find out, is a big deal. So, maybe. So, if I read out the name of the game that you and your team worked on, then cherish this moment. Think about it, because it means that a group of your peers, people who you respect and who like you, and some people who can't hate you, but even so, through gritted teeth, they've had to admit that you are at the very pinnacle of your game. You have done the best it can be done. Your peers and just a handful of people at Cambridge Analytica have decided that you are the best that you can be. If, however, your game is not the game I read out, then that means by a simple matter of deduction that you are not a winner. It means you're a loser. And there's a difficult night ahead, and I suspect you should start drinking heavily and forcefully so that you're ready for the moment when you have to go home and face your children, if you're lucky enough to have them. And they look up and say, Daddy, or Mummy, but looking at this industry, almost definitely, Daddy, did you do it? Are you a winner? And you have to say, no, darling, I'm a big fat loser. And then after 10 or 12 years of expensive therapy, which you'll be paying for, and they decide they don't want to speak to you anymore and cut you out of their life completely. And you realise we're just specks on a big chunk of rock spilling through a universe with no purpose, and you take a bottle of Jack Daniels and a double-barreled shotgun and go to the garage and put it in your mouth, making sure you get the soft spot at the top, because you really don't want to fuck this up. When you do that, you'll remember it all began this evening. So let's have a look at the nominees, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Here they are.
Best Game. Assassin's Creed Origins. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Horizon Zero Dawn. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Super Mario Odyssey. What Remains of Edith Finch.
I'm sure my mom was just trying to protect me. Now that there's only one of us left, I thought it was time I heard the stories.
Best Game.
Joking aside, obviously, congratulations to everyone who's been nominated, and thank you for your remarkable games. And I'm a big Mario fan, so subarashi desu. But the winner, or rather the Bafta for Best Game goes to... Just building the tension just a tiny bit longer. Amazingly, What Remains of Edith Finch?
Thank you. Oddly enough, the shotgun ending would have made a lot of sense for our game, given that it's all about a collection of deaths. But yeah, this is incredible that we survived as a team. I wrote a speech for all the other awards, but this one I figured, you know, there would be something in Japanese.
Everybody spent 4 years of their life trying to make this game, trying many different things, and this is unbelievable. Thank you. I wish the entire team could be here. Everybody was crucial in making this game, so thank you.
Wow, for just a second I had a Bafta. How bittersweet. Much like the game. So before we end, there is one more award to give out. It's time for the Bafta Fellowship, the highest accolade Bafta can bestow upon an individual. The fellowship recognises outstanding and exceptional contribution to the arts. Here to tell us more about this year's winner, we have a woman representing one of the great British success stories in the games industry. Please welcome the co-founder and studio director of Media Molecule, Siobhan Reddy.
Hello. So like a lot of people here, I have childhood memories of playing the LucasArts games with my siblings, for which I will be forever grateful. But tonight, I want to talk about the Tim that I know now and how important it is for us to, as an industry, to recognise his amazing impact. Tim and I have forged a friendship over a shared love of the chaotic creativity of making games and the people that revel in it. One of my wise friends said a thing to me once. He said, "You should always judge a conversation on how it made you feel, no matter the words they said." Tim, a giant in his field, long before I ever met him, never once made me feel like I didn't belong, never once made me feel like he was a superstar and I was something lowly, never once was a shit. Instead, he always made me feel like a fellow collaborator, and he always celebrated and encouraged Media Molecule. Every chat with him has left me feeling accepted and that our energies were going in the right direction, and that creating stuff that comes from those deep parts of the soul is the only way. His encouragement has been energizing and provided bright rays when the path wasn't always clear. Thank you. And I know that I am not the only one. Thank you. It's always felt to me that Tim cares as much about the people that make games as the games themselves. It's not just about what do you deliver, but it's about what your take is. He knows that they take the blood, sweat and tears and a hefty chunk of our souls. And so he encourages us that we may as well make sure that we get our unique visions on the screen. His work with Double Fine is true evidence of this. They are such an amazingly brilliant friggin' force for good in our community, like amazing. Not only do they open their doors to game dev visitor after visitor, but between their internal jam approach to projects, Day of the Devs and Double Fine Presents, they combine people, creativity and projects in a way that is unparalleled. I feel like they're one of the few places that unashamedly revel in the chaotic brilliance of making games, whilst others spend all of their time trying to tame it or find the formula. Tim is exactly the person that the games industry needs to celebrate. He wants all of us to do well. He wants all of us to be happy. He wants our medium to be one that is filled with amazing, unique games made by anyone who wants to make them. He fights the good fight and is unafraid to step out into the firing line to stand up for what he believes in. Let's take a look at some of his work.
The Bafta Fellowship.
Who is Tim Schafer?
He's kind of a person who doesn't really need an introduction.
He's the most creative, warm-hearted, amazing game creator I can think of.
Well, Tim Schafer to me is one of the founding fathers of the games industry. He's a game designer. The games that he has worked on and designed have had far-reaching influences in the industry. He's one of the most charming, delightful people you could wish to meet, and a real inspiration.
For me, Tim is a master storyteller. You know, if you ask a normal person, what did you do this morning? They went and got a cup of coffee. If you ask Tim Schafer what he did that morning, he'll tell you everything that happened along the journey. He'll tell you what he saw. He'll tell you what the people behind him in line were saying, and he'll tell you a tale and bring you into it with charm and quirkiness.
Tim is funny. He is fucking funny, and he really
cares about character.
I'm headed into the lair of the giant spider queen. Anybody got a problem with that? My friend is dying. I'm heading in there now. You sure you don't want to talk me out of it? No? Okay.
Tim's games stand out because he's hilarious and he's quirky and he's charming, and there's a bit of an outsider to Tim. So his games are generally like taking a character and plopping them into a space that they're unfamiliar with. And then you sort of navigate that space along with them with charm and humor. And I think most people feel like outsiders, so they relate to all of his characters so much.
I think he really tries to give us delight and joy through gameplay, which is so difficult to do from a design perspective, and he does it.
Decapitation! There. It is dead. And you, I will now teach you. Hang on. I shall now teach you of French kissing.
Yeah, you can always tell a Tim written game because he just writes unlike anyone else. He has such a unique personal style to his writing, and it's just hilarious to hear his characters talk to you.
So I wrote some lines, including the line, "Really? Splarg? Is it my birthday or something?" That's gonna be probably the best line in the game. Can't tell now, but 10 years from now you'll know.
But I think he also just is known for creating really rich worlds with characters that feel unique and alive, and worlds that are kind of unlike anything you've ever seen before in games. And they're all totally different too, which is exciting, so you never really know what to expect from a Tim game and what could be next.
The first game that I really experienced was called Secret of Monkey Island. And it had an incredible humour to it, an irreverent humour. It was about pirates, but it was about more than that. And it was so fascinating and charming and amusing. It was one of those games that you couldn't help talking about to your friends. And that's true of everything that Tim has done.
I mean, one of my early favourites was Day of the Tentacle. It had such incredible art. It had a real kind of cartoon style, and I mean, it looked like something that would just jump out of the TV. You know, it wasn't like the kind of games I was playing at the time, which tended to be more about like running around and jumping on things and making them explode.
Oh great, I'm stuck in colonial times, tentacles are taking over the world, and now the toilet's backing up.
I think Tim really brought this new genre of funny, quirky games, which didn't really exist before outside of the other LucasArts people that he was working with. So I think storytelling, great characters are the things that he brought to the community.
From this day forward, you are all psychic soldiers, paranormal paratroopers, mental marines who are about to ship out on the adventure of their lives.
They told me this was a summer camp.
Tim has really used his influence and his bajillions of dollars and gajillions of Twitter followers to speak for what's right, which is that we need to be more open and more inclusive and have new weird games being made every year. And I think that's a huge contribution.
He loves to give back to the industry. He's a contributor, he's an outspoken supporter of inclusion and diversity. His studio, the team that he works with, they're really his family. And he's made personal sacrifices for them, and I know that, and he wants to keep them together. And he, you know, in very dark times in the game industry, Tim was one of the leaders who stood out and spoke up and supported the underrepresented developers out there.
He's always encouraging new creators to come into this space and get their stories out and really contribute to the gaming world. You know, he's not just like, I'm the big shot, you know, screw you guys. You know, he's encouraging the next generation all the time.
There's only one thing that I would complain about Tim, is that he can never give me enough hugs or hang out with me enough, give me enough advice. We can never drink enough beer. So at some point in time, there has to be a limit to how much Tim Schafer you can have, and it's never enough for me.
The Bafta Fellowship.
So with this fellowship, we are celebrating his design skills, his ability to tell stories, to make us laugh in a medium where that's unusual, and being a force for good and therefore an ally. He breaks the rule of don't meet your heroes, rush out and meet this guy. And the funny thing is, you will walk away having been made to feel like the hero or heroine. Barry and I just watched all of Lord of the Rings again the other day, and so I'm feeling the Fellowship vibes quite strong. And I was kind of wondering, like, if the games industry had a ring to take to Mordor, could Tim do it? I think Tim could do it, and actually only Tim could do it. This year's Bafta Fellowship is awarded to the wonderful, fabulous, gorgeous, amazing Tim Schafer.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and you're all standing up. That's good. Stretch those leg muscles. You've been sitting for a long time. I'm gonna try. I'll keep this short because they already game of the year, and you're probably sick of seeing me already after that video. And also, if I talk too long, I'll start to get all emotional and blubbery, and no one wants to see me ugly cry again. And I was recently at an event where I was thanking all the people who had helped me in my career, and it was such a long list that I got really overwhelmed, and there were a couple of themes to that list. One was I've met so many amazing people like Siobhan and everyone in that video, and I've been so lucky in who I've met, and also that my career has had so many near-death experiences where it almost ended if it were not for those people. And I felt a lot like that career was like in an old Buster Keaton movie where he's walking down the street and he's reading a newspaper, not watching where he's going, and he steps on a construction girder, and then a crane lifts him up in the air, and he's about to walk to his death, and then right at the last minute, another girder comes by, and he walks on that one, and then another girder, and on for 30 years until someone hands him a big heavy trophy and he falls to his death. And of course, those girders in that story are an allegory. That come in and save me at the last minute are, of course, an allegory for my looks that I've been exploiting all these years. So I'd like to thank them, first of all. No, it's always about those people that have supported me, and that when you look at it that way, it really encourages you to want to keep that going, keep that rolling, and help and support other people. And I think that's what's so great about the BAFTAs. The BAFTAs are such a great organization that not only just give us this excuse to get all pretty once a year, but also they do so many things throughout the year to encourage new people in the industry and creativity in general, and establish mentorships and have programs like the BAFTA Crew and the Breakthrough Brits. And so I love what they do. Thank you. Breakthrough Brits is now accepting nominations, by the way, so get in there. And I believe in that mission too, and I really want to do that, even though sometimes it feels strange because we'll, in one breath, be like, we have to lower the boundaries and let more and more people into the games industry. And then in the next breath, we'll be complaining, but there's so many games coming out. Oh my God, there's so many games. And sometimes I wonder, like, do we want fewer games or do we want more games? We want more people entering, but we also want no one to launch a game on the same weekend that we launch a game. So how do we rectify those two things together? And I think we definitely do. We definitely do want both, but we don't want people to just come and help us do what we're already doing. We really want those new voices, new perspectives to come and shake things up, and to come from groups that have not been represented in games so far, and to tell new stories and really throw a big, creative monkey wrench into the works. Or wait, not monkey wrench, spanner. Spanner, thank you, sorry. I've gotten in trouble for that before. It's a Monkey Island joke for really old people. Thank you. But we really want those people to if you're starting out in the industry, it's often, I remember how it felt to come to a big event like this and see how established the industry is and how many people have done such amazing things, and the games are so big and everyone loves them so much, and you think, how can my little creative self thing fit into all of this? How can I fit into this enormous, impressive thing? And the answer is, don't tried to fit into it. Just smash it to pieces with your own creative, inspirational game that no one else can make but you. And that's what I really want to encourage people to do. And I feel like, yeah, it goes for the old timers too. And I've always felt like we've tried to do that. I tried to do that throughout my career, and always the BAFTAs have always supported that. It seemed like the weirder ideas I had, the more supportive BAFTAs was to me. And I want to thank them for that, and I want to thank them for this. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Very kind.
Congratulations to our BAFTA Fellowship winner, Tim Schafer. That wraps it up for the BAFTA Game Awards 2018. Thank you all for coming. We hope you had a wonderful time. To all the nominees, congratulations for your incredible contributions to the industry. To all the winners this evening, if you come back to the end of the to the back of the building, there is a bus that will take you to an island so we can watch you fight to the death. We're very proud we invented this idea. It would make a great video game. Somebody should take that. So our thanks to Activision Blizzard, to Electronic Arts, Sega, PlayFusion, Tencent Games and Ubisoft that helped make this night happen. Thank you very much. I'm Dara Breen. It's been a pleasure to be back. I'm Dara. Good night. Good luck. Farewell.
Wow, what a night for the BAFTA Games Awards 2018. Guys, I've just been sitting here, and normally I'm pretty good at predictions. I think I got about 70% right this year, which is still high. It's not my best average.
You'd get a first if it was a degree.
Good. That's the way I was thinking of it.
Point. Got it. Yeah.
Thanks. You're a bit more upbeat than earlier. Okay, right. Let's go through some of the kind of shocks, winners. Anything that really surprised you out of that?
I think, it's a good surprise, but we were saying just before, that What Remains of Edith Finch got Best Game. I'm so glad that it did, but after, because, I was really hoping that it would win, because it was up for so many awards, and it didn't win anything for a while, and then for it to just snag that at the end, I was like, yes.
You would happily pass up, the other ones to get Best Game. You'd be all right, we're up for, however many, and I didn't get them, but I got Best Game,
but
because it's Best Game. That means I'm the best.
The best of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
but every game in that category, it must have been hard to pick a favourite, right?
Definitely. I think what's really amazing about What Remains of Edith Finch winning is that in other categories, it was so strong, but there was always something that pipped it to the post. And I think it shows that it's a really good all-rounder. Mm-hmm. Whereas others might spike in a particular art,
or audio achievement, or
exactly.
yeah.
It had all of
absolutely.
those,
Yeah.
and I think it's a really worthy winner.
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, definitely. I was we were saying, we're gutted that Edith Finch hasn't won anything, and Jane was saying, I hope it wins Best Game. And